Good luck go, we miss him. Buhari go, we miss him. If Tinubu go, we miss him. Our own don't finish.
I swear!
If person won't buy data now, it go use like 15 minutes look option. That time, when I say Tinubu they shake. Now who they shake?
Me and you!
To buy crates of egg for this era will be like careless spending.
Mazi!
With 300, if you buy mineral and egg grow. But now, 300 no fit buy egg, talk less of road.
No!
To chop single sausage shawarma now, person go dey do 2 weeks of planning.
God abeg!
Country dey spoil dey go. One person dey one side dey shout, "My father is the best president."
Better shut up!
Gary wey be poor man food, don turn gold.
No be lie!
President Tinubu, abeg, do something before something do us, abeg.
Tinubu!
It's not promised, my friend.
Sorry. Ovie is one of the people causing wahala in this place. I will remove him now. Okay, thank you so much. Please wait for Forefather.
He says it would be a mistake for anyone to provoke another.
Eventually coming. Me too. I want to come and argue
leading the first one.
and
Yes,
make the program, ungovernable for him.
And I will say
Since
to everyone, I
they
led
tend to do that.
proudly the first one.
I thank you, Tony. You are with us right beginning to even to this moment. I thank
that first one.
Tim, even though you had a very busy list, you still
Would have
came in.
been to no
Thank you.
avail. Would all have been in vain.
You had already used all your time.
No, I've been interrupted. If you pay attention, please. Just one statement. You asked me about my own perspective and own opinion. You are not
Nobody interrupted him, KJ. He has finished his time. He has used up his time, KJ.
Righteous man, calm down. If you don't have the mental capacity to understand what the host is saying, he just finished saying this thing about keeping quiet and letting somebody finish before you jump in. Why would you do that? How will you find a common ground and then start working? If I'm wrong and you're correcting me and I'm accepting that, okay, I was wrong, I didn't study that. That's how we move forward. If what I say you don't feel comfortable in that, fine. You're asking for my opinion and my perspective. And opinion and perspective is not the same as stating the fact. So if this is my opinion, this is what I say, how I see it. Then you correct me and how you see it is wrong. This is actually what happened. Refer to this book, that, or this documentary, or this and that. That's how we move forward. Thank you.
I agree. Thank you. I agree with you. And you see, I was looking to get clearance to play that book, to play that upload that documentary and not have it because it's not copyrighted. So my group do that on this program. But let us go forward and speak with the Blackstone. What's your view? The Blackstone.
So thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. And these are the elites of the gentlemen joining us. Ovia, I see you there. Thank you for joining us. I don't know what Pololu said that was very offensive. I don't know, because I tried to find it. Did you hear anything offensive from what he just said just there? And what he said at the end, I didn't hear anything offensive. Yes. Okay, what did he say that was offensive? If I can hear it, I don't understand why they were picking on him.
So many things, but the one that actually got me so angry is that now we have Nigeria, we have to negotiate. How?
You want us?
Where's that coming from?
You don't want us to negotiate. You want us to fight.
Negotiate based on what? Huh?
To discuss how we are going to stay together. Now, is that not what KG is
asking? No. You never asked me why I want to stay with you first. You said we will discuss. What does I want to stay with you?
He also said if you want to discuss going out too, you can discuss that.
No, he doesn't have the right to say the premise of the discussion. He's a stranger. That's the point. You can't come to my house and tell me. You can't come to my territory and tell me what to negotiate. Who be you? How?
He's in Nigeria.
That's he get what I'm trying to say. I was giving him his history, where he come from, how we get to where we are. That's what I was laying down to him. You understand that? That's when he jump in and begin to say, we don't have now. We have now. Yes, we have it now. Who does it? How do we have it? There's so many conversations that you choose to pick what you want to understand. When we say we should go back to our history, we are not saying because history at that time we are super warriors. No. It's because today we don't understand it. How did we get here? Imagine you just wake up now, you just see yourself in your village. You are in London, you don't want to see yourself in London village. You just say, I live my life, they go like that. You don't must have take 20 seconds. You have to say, come, how did I get here? You need to find out how you get here first before you know to say, okay, let me negotiate with this person. That's where we are. So what you see going on, everybody they grab the raw because they know from day one there's never an agreement for us to live together. Because we are put on all our eyes to join together. And they accept it because they are the incoming stranger. There's a reason why they are coming. So in a day they win. So that's what we were saying. We are here now, we have to negotiate. What do I say you are here now? Just because you're here now doesn't mean that it's guaranteed I'm going to be here tomorrow. It's not guaranteed.
Your microphone is playing up a little bit, but personally, I don't see what he said that was wrong. Whenever you are in a situation, better to negotiate than to start fighting. Better to talk to each other in a civil manner than to start quarreling. And the way you are quarreling...
You are not getting the point, Tunanja. If I budge into your house today, and I begin to tell you, come, you must give me one room. I'm here already, you don't get choice. But the fact I'm here already, I must get one room. That's what is happening.
Yeah, but that's America.
You don't know.
You are living in a country that's like that. You are living in many parts of the world are like that.
No. This is hold on. This is the difference. America fought blood, sweat before there was no negotiation. They won before any conversation starts.
So
that's the point.
Are you saying
we were giving?
No,
it's like you come now. This is what happened. It's like you just come now. You just say me and Chima must live together in the same house. Whether we like it or not, we must live together. That's exactly what happened. But the question is that hold on. No, but the problem is that when you say me and Chima go live, and Chima get the house, me not stranger. I call the text Chima say Chima don't get yours. Chima's already here. He must live with me. By force. I know who here. No.
See, that is. I hear what you are saying, but that is a totally different scenario. If let's say it was a British man that comes here and say, okay, just showed up here, and you know. You know why?
Tunanja, you know why I got angry? Because he jumped into my own. Everybody talking about opinion, Abi.
He just jump in. Nobody let me finish. Like, who is this guy?
Okay. I get you from that point of view. Remember, he has been on the panel for a long time. They didn't let him speak. So maybe that's why.
The same thing. So allow me finish. When you have your time, you see whatever. I'm not going to, if you say, we must share, we must divide, I'm not going to be jumping to you and do that. No, I know better and do better than that. I go angry because why you go stop me? You didn't not stop me to either correct what I'm saying or disagree with you. No, you just said, no, all those one are rubbish. Forget history. We are here now. We have to negotiate. Who the fuck are you?
Yeah, but it's correct now, because I think what I notice is that you tend to be more sympathetic to people that want to go back into the past. You tend to be sympathetic to that.
Hold on. See, the idea of going, what do you mean by, so what do you understand by going to the past in the first place? What do you understand by that word?
One, talking about the past, trying to heal from the damages of the past. And secondly, if necessary, hack and start doing things that are in the past. Repeat.
No. I am trying to understand my past. So I know why I'm behaving the way I'm behaving. Understanding it. I cannot understand it if I don't go back. To put this into perspective.
But that is not what is going on here. They are trying to break the country. But that's not.
That's no point. Hold on. That is what we are saying. But they are saying no. You know they listen to Papa past. What was his cry? This is not the Nigeria that they will agree with. We need to see that they say no, because they have the upper hand already. See, this is to Nigeria. You will not understand this. Just the way don't say the war. Everyone now, everyone is strong, everyone is change. They will produce somebody that will overrun all the institutions. So all this way they have an agenda coming our way. I'm not because we too supposed to get an agenda. I'm not saying we should not, but we need to recognize that fact. Even President Buhari said it as a sitting president. It is the group. Everybody trying to be superior. He said it. A sitting president.
I think let's not mix things up. Agendas, every group has their own agenda.
Yes.
The point I'm making is that what he said there, in terms of coming together to have a conversation, there shouldn't be
hold on. But did you ask me my own agenda? I don't even want to sit with you. That is my agenda. I don't know you.
Exactly. Everybody has their own agenda.
Okay. So why are you not saying we should negotiate on what?
Yeah, because he too could say your own agenda is against his own agenda, that he should fire you too. So if everybody starts behaving the way you are behaving, then nobody will have a conversation.
Isn't that what war is all about? Why is it what they go on everywhere?
So you want war?
No, it's not what I want. It's what they also want.
You say you don't want it, but you disagree with everything that will prevent it.
No. You have a conversation. Hold on now. Listen to Nigeria. I don't have to have a conversation with you. You are trying to force me to have a conversation with you.
You have a conversation to prevent the inevitable, which is conflict.
What inevitable? What is that inevitable?
A conflict will result when there are no conversations.
To Nigeria, when he invaded my president, he chose violence. He did not knock. He did not ask, can I come in? He just barged in. And that's the way he take out.
They did ask. I don't know.
No, I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the ideology that is coming. I don't expect them to ask. And they don't expect me to accommodate them. They don't.
You have an ideology too.
That's the whole point. And my ideology is that I don't want to stay with them.
And the ideology that you have is coming from foreign this thing.
No. You are not getting it.
His own ideology is foreign, don't you?
You are not getting it. I cannot come to a house and begin to dictate that you have to accept or negotiate with my ideology. Like it's not like it doesn't happen.
Of course, you have to. Enemy of my enemy is my friend. If you have better enemies out there,
I don't think you are listening to me. Hold on, you are not listening to me. We are living in our peace, in our violence, in our demonic way. However you want to classify it. Before they came, I'm not talking about the white people. Before they came, you are not go there. To Nigeria, anywhere you go, if you want to step out of your house.
Who is these days? So I will get clarification. Is it the Hausas or the Fulanis? I don't know who you are.
So that was my point. That was what I asked you. What did I say? I said the Arab with the arrowhead of Islamism. That's what is happening. I mean, oh, full load. Is it different? Is it on a different ideology?
It's not Arab now.
Oh my God. Am I speaking Swahili?
I don't know.
You are
He's
being
not Arab.
very
You're saying,
emotional. You are being very
he's
emotional.
not Arab,
No,
and he's
no, hold on. Separate ideology, separate Arab and Islamic. Separate the two. Let me hear.
the
Arabs did not directly come to
Arab is
Nigeria.
a race
They did not
and
directly come to
this in
Nigeria.
a culture.
They came through trade.
They did not come directly to Nigeria. The
I said
Arabs
they
did
came
not-
through trade. They came through trade.
Yes, they came through trade.
Yes,
So
they came
they
through
didn't
trade.
force themselves in.
So
Our ancestors let them in.
yes, one race. How do you make the ancestor
They
less
did,
than?
they did not come through violence.
They let them
It
in.
was an organic
It wasn't not
process.
mostly black people that went and fought for Islam.
Okay. They did not come through violence. That's right.
So you are correct that they came to Africa through violence, through North Africa, right?
Hold on. Yes, that was true violence, right? What is the point? If let's say, let me use USA ID. If I can use my soft power to get into it, what's the point of carrying gun?
I'm
I'm not saying. Hold on.
It was our own people that used guns against our own people.
The point here is, I don't care how they came. The fact that we agree that they came, that's the conversation. It doesn't matter if they came with Bible.
Okay, now let's try to get back to the point. What I see in that video, I can play the video again. I don't know what Polo for this thing did that was so offensive. And when he called Jonathan an Igbo man, I don't know why that is so offensive for them. Because to not like now, when we are talking about the North, we call all of them Hausa when they are not even Hausa. Many of them are not Hausa there. As a matter of fact, maybe majority of the people in the North.
Let's have a high level conversation, please. Okay. When we are talking about the North, we don't talk about tribe. We're talking about the political ideology, the majority that speaks. Who cares about who speaks my or who speaks this? What is the political force? Who determines that? That's what counts.
But that is not when we are talking about the North. We tend to talk about them.
That's why I say let's elevate the conversation. That's why we don't be past say no. That's why the conversation.
See, Obi, I'm just trying to address one specific.
Who cares about Igbo Yoruba? It's like the ideology that counts.
See, I just want to address one specific point regarding what is happening with what happened with the previous conversation where they were attacking him for saying stuff, and maybe to help us also understand how emotive this thing, this discussion is about the.
See, let me give you one advice, right? See, people who lost their direct parent during war, either not them be blamed to blame, they are still alive. You don't know what that means. You have no idea. I have a senior brother who fought in that war today. That apart from far, people there with their parents, their direct father died, they are still alive. What are you talking about? So you have to be very careful when you are talking issue like that. It's beyond what you are saying.
Why are you saying that? But you live in countries where people died in the Second World War.
Hold on. Listen first. Hold on. That now here with the year did not affect us. If my papa died for war, I don't give a fuck who you do. The talk rubbish. I come out your head.
Yeah, but I've seen people here that their parents died.
You see, you cannot say everybody should act the way you want it. No. You can't.
Actually, yes, you could. You could say there are certain behaviors that are expected from grown-ups.
See, that's what the problem is. That's what the problem is.
You can't expect grown-ups to act in a certain way in this world, and some other ones act as if they can't meet the standard of
Which word? Hold on, Tunaja. You are see again. That's where history is important. The word that we did not agree to create together. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the world where. Okay, let me finish. Don't interrupt. Where people, about almost 50 million people, were lost in Europe, and the parents of those people lived, and they went on to create the European Union and NATO. They didn't continuously have conversations after conversation after conversation about it. So
no,
that's
you are wrong.
My point. And those
you
people
are wrong. Tunaja, you are wrong.
Yes. How?
You are wrong. You understand?
I'm wrong. Yeah?
If all wounds are healed, the world will not be the way it is today. There will not be people dying in Ukraine and Russia. There will not be people dying. What do you think that is? You think that's separate? That's why I say if you don't understand World War I, You have no clue what is going on.
It's actually separate. It's about power. That is what is creating a new one. They want to win power. So
I think today
what did they fought for in the first
Ukraine war? Today will be
what did the Europeans fight for?
Ukraine war. I really need to talk about the Ukraine war.
What did the fight for?
What was causing their fight in the first place? Not the power.
Wow.
It was because of power now.
It's always about power. It's always about power. Even up to today, it's about power.
Yeah, but the one you are talking about in the context of Nigeria, you were saying that it has something to do with the hatred.
It is still about power too, Nigeria. That's what you don't get. It's about power.
And the pain from the civil war. That's why people are
Nigeria. Okay, let me give you this. If to say the Biafra win the war, would the competition be like this? No, it's still about power.
It will be the nuts that will be solved.
It is about power. You understand? So
I do understand all this about power, but I'm talking about the way we discuss these things and the way we lock ourselves into this discussion without trying to get past.
No, because they want the discussion to start from a starting stage.
We've been talking about it in 1967 or 1970. I mean,
they want it. That's not where the conversation starts. That's the problem. That's the problem.
Is there any country that had any more? Even this in Japan that was nuked twice. Somebody tells me that they didn't spend this long talking about this issue before this.
No. Japan that was nuked twice. Then the people that nuked them have to deliberately invested money to build that country back directly.
Yeah, but that is different from the people's pain. Okay, in the context of
Nigeria. Hold on. If to say, imagine, now say that it's out there they complain about railway and all that. Imagine if they get that. I don't think they will be complaining the way they are complaining. See, it's not even about the complaint. You said it is about power. When somebody is not in power, he has the right to complain.
It's about power, so you can be correct in so many ways.
So what they are saying now, the hunger is that some section of the country is holding power. There's nothing wrong with that. Even if today,
No. You see, I don't buy that idea that some section of the country is holding power. It's not true. If you look at what Tinubu has been able to do, it clearly is not true. Jonathan almost ran the country for 10 years. The dispensation that allowed for 8 years. He almost ran the country for 10 years.
Hold on. You understand how nations work at all?
I don't know.
Power don't be. Hold on now. Power don't be who
all the leaders are coming from the south.
To Nigeria, power no be who they see for TV. No be who they office be power, my guy. Those are actors.
Okay.
That's not power.
Talking about,
you know who allow me finish, right?
I know what you are trying to say. You are saying
hold on. What I'm trying to say is that even if the Igbos hold power today, you will have a section of the country that will raise that the same. So is that one a normal? You understand? That one a normal. But you have to go down to say, why is the power so unevil? It's not. You understand? I am not saying, the Southeast. I am not saying the Southeast are so innocent. I am not saying. So my problem is not even before we can even say we want to live together. We have to know how we get here. It's not saying we don't
know how we got here. How can we be acting as if we don't know how we got here?
Tell me how we got here. I don't know.
We screwed up. We bought foreign ogogoro too much, sold our people too much, and
you see. No, but that's what. No, Tunanja, you are insulting me. Hold on.
If you say you want to know how we got here, we know
how we got here. Hold on. Let me say this. If you actually believe our people got drunk and sell our people out, let me know now, and I will leave the platform. If you do believe that, if you actually believe our people got drunk and that will be selling us as slave, if that is what you believe, let me know right now. That's not the point. That's not the point you make. That we screwed up. And start telling people.
Let me make the point that I made. Hold on. The point I was making before was slightly in jest, but however, we did buy this in Schnapp, this in alcohol from this in Oyibo people as a way of trade, and we bought mirror from them, we bought guns from them, we bought all kinds of things from them, and we gave them slaves.
So
did that not happen?
So that's trade.
Yeah, we give them human beings. We exchange human beings for material things.
That's your belief?
Yes, we give
You
human
believe that?
beings for material
You do,
things.
you know, you believe that?
Is that not what is Madam Tinubu known for? Are you serious? What is Madam Tinubu known
I
for?
don't know why
Don't you know the history of Nigeria? Okay, no wonder you say you don't know how we got here.
I agree. Now I understand. Now I understand why. Now I get your point. No, that's your belief. Fine, that's fine.
Let's find out who is Madam Tinubu, so that we know how we got into the mess that we are in.
You are telling me you are telling me the history of 60s in the 90s. The Portuguese were in Nigeria in the 1400s. What are you talking about?
Yes, they were, but the events
that's what I'm saying. You don't know your history. You don't know the people who were.
Calm down.
Hold on. I want to live on a. No, hold on. I want to live on a bone because I'm too. Make a listen that they say people like I'm better than that. Won't continue? Okay.
So, yeah, that's fine. So, thank you for being here, Jide. You see the kind of conversation we have. All I wanted to find out was why were they attacking Polo so harshly? That because it seems as if it's just born out of prejudice or just downright this hatred. They were just attacking. They were not hearing what he was saying. And if I said the same thing that he said, they were not going to be that offended. You see, people like to think that they hate me so much, but they don't hate me as much as they hate Polo. They don't hate me as much as if I said the same thing, they will look at me and turn the other way and forget about it, and they will not be that upset. But you are so cross with Polo about it, so I don't understand why we do those sort of things when we are supposed to, cut each other a bit of slack in all these things. So, what do you make of the conversation anyway with this regarding the remembrance and because Biafra? I think what they are remembering is the declaration of Biafra. I think in 2 days' time. And the belief that breaking the country up somehow will solve a problem when, if I already knew that because I always knew that breaking the country up doesn't necessarily solve the problem. And I actually got confirmation from having conversation with one of my favorite people on the face of the earth, the South Sudanese. I had a conversation with them 2 weeks ago, and the conversation was in a meeting where they were actually discussing breaking the country up. This is a country that broke away from Sudan, and they want to break that one up too. And you can't make it up. They want to break it up in 3 places, and you need to see how angry they felt about it because they felt one tribe was dominating the entire country, and that tribe is the Dinka tribe, and they make up 36% of the population. The Nuo tribe make up 15% of the population. They are the 15% of the population, and they are the second dominant group. And these two, they make up about 50% or so. They dominate the entire government. They make up about 80-90% of the government. The others are just like nothing, and they don't hold significant positions at all. That is the country they have. And by the standard of their country, Nigeria looks like a civilization where everybody is represented. Minister has to come from each state, and even the military, everybody has to be appointed. You have NYSC. Nigeria looked like a civilization compared to what they were going through. So, and this is why I tell many of these people that are in Nigeria now, this thing we are talking about, is good to remember the sad mistakes that we made in the Biafran War. It's also good to talk about ways to learn from that and do better for our nation today. But this thing that we do where we say, let's not try to fix the country, let's try to break out of the country because the country will never work. It was never going to work. Even when you break out of the country, you're going to find the same problem again when you leave the country. And sometimes it looks like, I don't know whether, you see, this is why sometimes when I say certain things, it's because I study human nature. Because that's why I say it, and I'm often correct. When in that meeting, a South Sudanese went on and said that they are having Arabization problem, which was the reason why they left the northern Sudan, you can't even make it up.
Or like that, does that not tell you something? If you are having a Arabization problem here, it tells you that this thing goes beyond border. It's not, there are forces at play that you are not understanding. You're not dealing with. And the same thing we are facing here. There are forces at play that our people refuse to open their eyes and see. But someday they will see. You can't force them to see it. They will see it someday and they will forget all these smaller problems and say, hey, this is the pain that our forefathers went through and it's in our blood. But because it was so traumatic, we failed to confront it until the day of reckoning. That day will come. Our people will never listen, no matter what I tell them. You know, Tony, very gentleman and very, very eloquent, well-spoken. He's a well accomplished and very accomplished too. But when it comes to this topic, he too gets caught. Because it's so strong. The feeling is so strong in this area that it's just remarkable how when I see
No, I'll tell you. See,
brilliant people.
look, I've been listening all day. Look, I'm a Chelsea fan. I was just enjoying the day, over Arsenal, Sorry, Arsenal fans, it's a very bad day. You feel bad. But, look, forefather, I think you get caught up in your narrative, and sorry, hello, everybody, and people in the comment section. I know it's, hey, Jide, Tony, I want to ask you a question. Take a deep breath. What are the mistakes that we made before? Because you keep talking about let's not make the mistakes of the past. What are those mistakes that you think?
Number one,
Yes.
if Nigeria was a nation the way we are today, like we are together,
Mhm.
at that time, we came together before the British arrived, they would not have been able to conquer Nigeria. Nigeria would have been too big for them to conquer.
Are you really saying this?
Yes, it's a fact. Nigeria won is a very, very inhospitable place for them. They could barely survive and they just found the cure for malaria. They didn't have enough headroom inside Nigeria to take over. That's why they couldn't even stay in the country that much. And they left.
Just to add to what Papa said, it's very important what he said. If you look at the way the British actually conquered that region called Nigeria, they went after different kingdoms. They first went to Lagos, then subsequently they went to the Benin Kingdom. Subsequently they went to I think it was the north that was last. They went to the Oyo Empire.
No.
They went to the Iri Kingdom. Iri Kingdom is
I think
the
Igbos were last.
They first went to they went to Calabar. That's the first place they went to. It's not Lagos.
No, Lagos was the first to be conquered. Lagos was first to be conquered. I didn't even know the king.
No. You're talking about which place was conquered. I'm saying who was trading with the British first?
Oh, it's the Benin. It's the Benin.
No, you're talking about the Portuguese. You're talking about the Portuguese.
Okay,
I'm talking about the British people. The Portuguese. There are letters between the Obong of Calabar and the Queen. I think dating to the 1700s. Letters.
Yeah, real letters. Correct.
So
you're probably correct on that point. So in terms of the mistake that we made that I addressed.
Look. What I'm saying is this, and look, that's why we gotta sprinkle everything we're doing with some history, so we can accept, we can understand where we are, because the idea that we could have done anything to the British is just hocus pocus. I'll tell you something. There are empires. It's like saying that the French could have done anything against Nazi Germany. They were just much stronger. Everybody has their own time in history. How could Nigeria have stopped people who had gunpowder, and there was nothing anybody could do. The British, just take a look at this. The British were seafarers. The French did their own conquering in a different way. And see, these were two different people. The French were there. There have been many. See, Europe had just blossomed, just about maybe 500 years into what happened in Nigeria. And they just went all over the place. They went to South America. Or you could have said, what did Africa have that the people in the American continent, the Incas, what did they not have? And all the other people,
the the Navajos and the what did they not have? They were warriors too. These guys were fierce warriors in American continent. Guess what? The British wiped them out. They slaughtered them more than they slaughtered us in Africa. Don't blame this, which our forefathers just could not withstand their
I
firepower.
think you have to remember that in terms of them, they were conquered a lot earlier. Just like South Africa was conquered a lot earlier. Nigeria
No,
was.
hold on. Hold on now. When did what's his name arrive in the American continent? Because we
I
need
think
to.
it's 16 something now, 15 or 16 something.
I
That's when
just mentioned to you. The question is when was
Columbus.
the time that Benin started trading with the Portuguese? Check it out.
I think that was
Someone should
around
check it.
15 or 16
That's in the
something.
16th century.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. You can't say, see, these guys got the same thing about the same time, and they all spread out.
Yeah, but let me
British,
try to flesh what happened out so
But
you
the
understand.
British did not conquer the
not
West
for me
Africa
to
is different.
understand.
Okay, you don't understand.
I
Let me
don't
just
want
paint the
us to
picture.
lose the point. No. What made me come
You're
in
not
here?
letting
Look,
me speak at all.
no, sorry. Let me just land on a point, and then you take over. They discuss this Biafra thing all over throughout the weekend. I just don't get into that discussion because it's never going to lead us anywhere. But it's good to educate people so we know where we come from. And no one should feel bad about people who want to grieve or say whatever. I grieve whenever you talk about Biafra. It's emotional conversation. So I don't even engage it. I stay at my home. I discuss it with my children. My father fought. It was a Biafran soldier. It was painful. He was in pain till he died. So so we all know it's like those people in Gaza that you pity every day. Their children will never forget the Israelis and what they did. So, and don't try to tell them to stop crying. Wait, don't try to do that. But no, look, what I'm saying is why I came here is because you said the mistakes we made in the past. And you said if Nigeria stayed together, the British, what I'm trying to say, my anchoring point is our forefathers could not do anything. This man, how can you see a Goliath and a small rat and you say you can do? No, this is just moments in history. The question is, what do we do from now going forward? Now that we have the internet and maybe we can organize ourselves better. But take it away.
I think what I meant, Japan was not colonized, neither was Ethiopia. Nations that stand together generally stand a better chance of repelling.
Even Iran.
Many nations were not necessarily conquered.
I
Nations that stand together stand a better chance of repelling. And remember, West Africa was a white man's graveyard for a very, very long time. And the reason why they took South Africa and those regions first was it wasn't similar to West African climate where you have mosquitoes and all the rest. So they were not. They found it easy to colonize South Africa a lot earlier. That's more than 300 years earlier than Nigeria. That's the gap. That should tell you there is something different about West Africa that was even closer to Europe compared to South Africa, that they couldn't take West Africa. Something was preventing them. And when they got a chance to take West Africa, if we were united at that time, it would have been far more difficult for them because Benin was already manufacturing weapons. And if they scale those weapons manufacture up, it would have been very, very painful for them with all the malaria, yellow fever, dengue fever, and all the rest that comes along.
Are you really? Which weapon was Benin manufacturing?
You didn't know the Benin was manufacturing guns now. They didn't scale it up now. They were manufacturing guns.
Given to them by who?
Not given to them. They manufactured it themselves.
Wait. Are you saying that Benin people had the science of gunpowder by the time the Portuguese arrived?
I think so.
But I thought you are a Benin man. How can you a Benin man like you?
Okay,
you don't know the Benin history.
Kingdom. Yeah, I will show it to you now. Benin Kingdom, gun or weapon.
No, the Portuguese brought the gunpowder and the technology to the Benin people. They helped Benin people enslave people around them. Benin had their own weaponry, but it was not based on gunpowder science. Are you kidding me?
No, it was.
Gunpowder came
It
from
was.
China and went to Europe.
I'm telling
And
you, it was. I saw it with my own eyes. So this is not if it is not even
no, present
just
your fact. Don't give me
okay. Any
one.
kingdom had
You
both
know.
imported and locally manufactured firearms. Okay, let me share it with you so
No,
you
no,
see
no. I'm
what.
not saying that who introduced it to them. Of course, they made some. Benin had very good bronze science. But what I'm saying, you can make all the swords and the knife and everything you had. What I'm talking about is gunpowder. That's what
Yeah,
changed
they did
Europe.
that too. They did that too. They did that too. They
Yeah.
figured it out. You see, that's why
Okay.
that's the whole point. They figured it out from the Portuguese that showed it to them. So
Thank you.
this is
That's what I'm saying now. Of course.
yeah. But Portuguese showed them how. That's how the Japanese did it too. When you get the technology, so if the problem with them is that they were busy selling human beings that could be making more of those guns. Because when I studied it, they said one of the reasons why they didn't have enough weapons because they didn't have deep enough manufacturing base to mass manufacture the weapons. If you need weapons, you need to manufacture it a lot to be able to use it against your enemies. So, but they didn't do that because they were busy selling human beings. And if Nigeria was united and they were manufacturing these guns, do you think the British would have been able to come in the way they did with all the other factors that was helping us? Maybe they may have conquered us later, but maybe they wouldn't have because by the time they finished conquering Nigeria, I think it was around 1900 something, and before then they had a First World War and they had a Second World War. They wouldn't have been able to colonize Nigeria.
My dear brother, and Jide mentioned, I love Jide. Jide is very knowledgeable. There's no doubt. I listen to you. I've learned things from you. But when we try to compare Persia or Japan as it was at that time, when the Europeans got to their territory to West Africa, it's a joke. If you know the history of Japan, and how by the time the Europeans got to their border and the relationship that those guys have, it's different things. And you must know something. The attitude that the Europeans had to black people was very different from the attitude that they showed the Asians. Look, we had businesses for maybe 300 years with the Europeans until Berlin Conference. Berlin Conference changed everything. It's 150 years this year, is it not? Just what it was Berlin Conference that this guy said, well, we're going to take this place. They did similar thing to India. India had very powerful, what did they do to us that they didn't do to India? Go and read about India. Even Alexander the Great could not conquer India. As much as he conquered those Europeans, conquered Egypt that was very strong, conquered all this, he could not conquer India.
Yeah, they conquered India a lot earlier, too, if I'm not mistaken. And part of it is the climate too. So this is the point I'm making. Nigeria
No, but even as
environment.
India has mosquitoes, had malaria, had all the bad things.
Not like
But
our own.
no,
not like
India
our own.
was, remember, the jewel of the British Empire was India. It's not us. India was where they got all the spices. It was very hard for them. And, we know that it was the Americans that gave the Indians their way out, right? It was the the Atlantic Treaty that, India used to escape. And India fought, after the Second World War, the British could not hold India anymore because India it's like holding Africa or the whole of West Africa. They couldn't do that. And then even with the internal split, that's Islam and the native whatever the religions they had, Hindi and all that, already put India into. The British essentially ran away from India because so much men.
So that was what they did in India. So Oji, just to correct you there. So what they did before they left was they saw something that was developing in that region, that sub-Indian continent, that India, because Pakistan was actually part of India, like you mentioned. So they actually worked, I think CIA was also involved in MI6. They orchestrated a secession movement of Pakistan to ensure that they are not united. That's why up to now, they have a land dispute in Kashmir. They divided that country. You know why? Because during the Cold War, India had a strong alliance with the Soviet Union. And Pakistan, which is modern-day Pakistan today, the Islamized Indians, they hated communism. They were connected with the Muslim Brotherhood. So they had this nationalist idea to secede. So they collaborated with the intelligence of the British and the US to form their own country, which is Pakistan and other territories. So it was actually a product of colonialism, actually. So it's not like the Indians fought each other and divided. No.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
No, I agree with you. I never disagree with the
I
point
will
you're
agree
making.
with Odi is when you said don't tell people how to feel pain. I think that's a fair point. You can't tell people how to feel pain. And as a matter of fact, that's why I said I felt a little bit uneasy about saying they should try to move on, because sometimes I feel like there is not a lot of conversation from the south and the southeast on how to move things forward. You tend to see that in many western arenas where they're having discussions, or even if sometimes quite like they say pedestrian the way they discuss these things, or even northern states. But I feel like whenever we're having conversations, especially in the southeastern conversation, they tend to devolve into this Biafra thing constantly. You know, until one person said, think about what you were before now. Whether you were, no, you were not Biafra before now. You were Igbo men. There was nothing like Biafra before. You were Igbo men, and the Bishop came. They found us separated like that, and they took advantage of it. And the rest is history.
No, you know,
Let me just
see,
finish with it from 15
go
seconds.
ahead.
Everything you said that was supposed to be good in the past was our weakness. Was what got us into the mess that we are in. And if we go back to that, it's going to be doubly this thing tragic, because then we didn't learn anything from history at all.
No, so you're, and this is why I asked you the question. What are the points that you think that we failed in? Now you brought up the idea of bringing unity. There was no way you could unite. You know, where I come from, we used to live in hamlets. You know, there was no greater. That's why you didn't have any greater Igbos, you know, conquering, you know, community like or your empire. There was no empire in Igbo land. You know, there was nothing like that. How could you couldn't even get two villages together to unite to go and fight one village. Then, and for you to now get them together to join with Yoruba people or Igala people or something like that. So there was no way, you know, we are not those people. We lived proudly in our whatever we lived in. So we just came and we saw all these Oyibo people that now had so much power that we said, what is this thing? If you read Things Fall Apart, if you have read,
What is this thing?
my brother, you read Things Fall
So
Apart.
you mean the power made the
You know,
difference?
look, if you go to Igbo land, the people who have the most land are the Roman Catholic Church. They still have the land till today. You know, whenever we are laughing at the South Africa, they say, but the land is now owned by us, right? But it's still the church. Do you know how they got the land? When those Igbo people came, we say, we had what we call the Ajofia, evil forest. That's what we gave the Igbo people. Say, go there. Well, and everybody will relax and wait for them to appear in the morning. They will be dead now. Before you know, the Igbo people would have built big building. If you read Things Fall Apart, you say, these people's medicine, this white man's medicine, is stronger than our own. You know,
They don't look like mumus. That is not fine. That is not funny at all. That is really bad.
But it's history. That's why the man is a good writer. You know, he wrote for us to understand. Even if you read what's the Man of the People, all these things we are saying about Tinubu, about Wike. This is Man of the People, right? Same thing. You know, we are seeing ourselves in the past, the present, and the future. That's what the man told us. But the problem is that we don't want to learn. That's why the man rejected Obasanjo and his title that he said you should. They're a gang of, he called them a gang of criminals or something. Said they should go to hell with their national award. My point is this. What we need to understand is we need to learn from our history and learn from the people who dealt with us, right? It's not like we couldn't. The question is, how can we get ourselves united? It's not like we couldn't do anything by the time they came. It's like blaming the Hausas that live or the tribes in the north about how Fulani people conquered them. What could they have done? They just, Islam was so much of a uniting force. If you understand what happened between the time, when did Muhammad show up in the scene? 600 years after Christ. There was nothing like Islam. There was nothing. It was the Roman Empire. Constantine had arranged everything together. Then, they said within, whether it was 20 years, Islam almost took half of Europe and they went to Asia. They were united in one cause. The idea, the ideology was so strong that it wiped out culture. Somebody was talking about what's the difference between Arab and Islam. It's difficult for you to really separate Arabism from Islamism. It's difficult because the only people who did not give up 100% was the Persians. And if you look at the Persian folks, you can see where they drew the line. Even they accepted, they were conquered by Islam, by the people who brought Islam to them. But they did maintain some part of their Persians, a huge empire. Strong. How can you compare it with us who were just managing to tap our palm wine and have fun and do our thing?
You look like Bushmen. It's all right.
Tony,
I take offense with the way the OD is trying to describe us like bush people. And he says, oh, we cannot work with each other until Igbo man come and slap us. How is
but
it
we
that,
are not bush people anymore now.
we are willing to listen to Igbo man, but we can't listen to each other? Hey! And somebody's attacking Polo for saying we should talk to each other.
But look at this. But look at this now. We are not bushmen anymore. We know what everybody knows. What everybody knows now. We have a chance in history to blossom, to take one step. We should not let our primordial feelings continue to kill us. Religion. Look, the Northerners have Islam, right? The people in the West have still strong affinity for whatever they have. The people in the East, South. But the problem is the dichotomy. I have a very good friend. He doesn't listen to this show. But if you listen, you will know I'm talking about him. He believes, he's a very educated guy. But he believes that Akpabio should be doing whatever Akpabio wants. Once I have somebody from my village being number 3 in the country, I don't care. That's all he cares is let somebody from his state be number 3. That's all he cares. And this is the mindset we'll have to take away. Or all of us will die abroad. All of us will die abroad.
Okay, thank you. Polo, you may want to put your cam on, but let me go to I know Jide, you came first. Let's just go to this thing because I know if you feel like you need to interject to correct anything. Because Jide is here as a how do I put it, fact checker and making sure people say the right thing. Because I like Jide because he barely he studies his stuff. That he comes to share, he barely puts a foot wrong. That is important. And I've never noticed him, although when he feels like he needs to talk, that's when his feelings come up, but not necessarily on the topic itself. But when he feels like he needs to share the information, you see DJs just agitating. Let me talk. So that is where DJ gets excited, not when it's about this, do the one nation or anything like that. You're welcome, DJ. Tony, thank you for your patience. Because I think it's been a while. You've been very patient listening to us there. So what do you make of this approach the question is asking, the OD asked was about, what mistake I am saying that we made in the past. He doesn't see it like we made any catastrophic mistake. And also my assertion that maybe we need to talk more about moving things forward instead of anytime we gather, especially us Southeasterners, us Southeasterners, we start talking about only this Biafra most of the time. Almost all our conversations end up in the Biafra arena. So, and that's why I feel like if the Southeasterners are more outlooking into the country and into everything else, I think there will be a lot of progress actually then, because you can now see, instead of the trauma of the past, a kind of shielding your view of what is actually in front of you, especially the opportunities to fix all those damage that happened in the past. So, and this is some of the area. That's why I say what I say. It's not because I'm just trying to troll people. I'm trying to say you are still in this world. The next generation is in this world now. We have to make sure they don't face the consequences of some of those images that was being played on KJ's show. We want to avoid those things because there's no use complaining and complaining when you just keep repeating the same mistake. You're just causing the next generation again, so that they too will come and start having the same conversation we've had. I just want it to end so that we actually get to a period where our people can talk about something else. The glories. There's nothing wrong with glory. We deserve glory, don't we, Tony?
Yeah. Good evening, forefathers. Good evening, Jide. Good evening. Did I see Polo there? Good evening. Good evening, Odi. Yeah. When I was in the university in Nigeria, I had a roommate who was reading medicine, and he was born in Ibadan, schooled in Ibadan, attended university in Ibadan. So when we were talking, he has never been anywhere else outside Oyo State. He's not even been to Lagos. So his outlook, his world view, is just basically Ibadan, and maybe occasionally what he hears from. So sometimes when we're discussing Nigeria, his knowledge of Nigeria is just very abysmal. And so when you come with that kind of, when you have that kind of background, you are limited in your understanding of what Nigeria is. For instance, he will think that, many people are Igbos, people from cross rivers and Igbos. So the problem that we have, I said that to mean that I had to convince him, I had to take him to Lagos because I was living in Lagos. I had to take him to Lagos. I said, come, take him to Lagos. We stayed together, took him around and so on. I said, it's necessary for you, for your worldview. Because there are certain stereotypes that are associated with people, with Igbos, with those people, and you kind of internalize that, and you grow up with that, and it doesn't help you. It doesn't help the nation. So I think the problem that we have is that there are certain things that have been passed over to us, particularly the young ones, and they have grown with that type of feeling, with that notion, such that, when you see people discussing like in a platform that we have, it's difficult actually for you to break through when you're trying to explain certain things about the nation. And that's the problem that we have. And, this is just for the young ones. There are older people, older generations who also, have passed on that kind of information to their children. And so when we're talking about Nigeria, they don't have a larger picture of what Nigeria is. So it's important that we discuss these things. Now, with respect to our discussion today, what we're talking about, I don't blame anybody. I don't blame our brothers from the Southeast if they speak about their region and the challenges that they have. We need to give them a hearing, so that we can understand them, but they also need to understand us. So to move forward in Nigeria, we need to break down these barriers. This feeling of people being marginalized, this feeling of people of calling people names or thinking that some of this information that are not true because we have not gone round, and that's what the National Youth Service was supposed to do. You go outside your geographical area, so you can meet with other Nigerians and interact and have a larger picture of what Nigeria is, and build friendships and all that. That's not happening, because what has happened, instead of us to progress, Nigeria has been retrogressive because we are thinking more, of ethnic politics of our place. Like you just said, that somebody says, well, I don't care if my person is the governor or the vice president or senate president, I'm okay, even though he has no relationship with the person. But that's a thinking that shouldn't be. I mean, the thinking should be, whoever is there, let him be one, that will understand that we are a people, and, we need justice, we need fair play, and so on and so forth, irrespective of where the person comes from. That is one major concept that is lacking in Nigeria. And I think that's the issue. So if we begin to break down those barriers, those things that are holding us down, that's the only way we can see clearly, and begin to think, have a larger picture of Nigeria and pass this view to our children. I think that's the problem. Now there are people, for instance, I mean, Polo came in here, and the kind of views that he was expressing, is a view that if you totally dissect it, it's either he doesn't know or he knows and just holding on to that because for whatever reason. That is why, he was challenged, because there's a narrative that is going out there concerning the Igbos, concerning the Southeast, and they're fighting. They're saying this is not who we are. This is not what it is. We are marginalized. You have to give us a hearing. And we need to give them a hearing. We need to give them a hearing, and they also need to hear us. But if you don't want to hear them, then that's where the problem is. That's where the problem. And forefathers, when you are talking, sometimes they misunderstand you because you are talking. Let us look at Nigeria in a larger. Let us not restrict this discussion to just Southeast and Southeast problem, because what is happening in Southeast is also happening in other places with other ethnicities. They understand that, but you cannot try to diminish their views, their feelings about the problem that they are going through. You have to listen to them and appreciate that, yes, they have a problem, but that this problem is also not common to them. There are complexities all over the place. It may not be exactly the same thing all over the country, but we have to begin to deal with those issues. So I listened to Kadibu many years ago when he was saying, when you have a tree, fall across the road, another one crosses, falls on top of it. You don't go taking away the tree that is down, you take away the one that is on top, and then you can take away the other one that is down, so people can have free paths. Nigeria has to deal with these issues. Nigeria has to accept that we have issues. And Nigeria has to be fair. Leadership has to be, this elite conspiracy that we are seeing here, because they tend to think of power, how they grab power, how they make money, and so on and so on. In that area, they are one, they are united. But when it comes to the basic needs, when it comes to justice, when it comes to building the nation, when it comes to policies that will advance the interests of Nigeria, we're different. We don't act as if we're one. So that's the challenge, that we have. And so for me, I am saying that going forward, if Nigeria must move forward, some people feel that Nigeria is dead. There's nothing you can do about it. But I've always said that I don't think we've reached that, we've reached that point where we can say no more. We can't everybody to attend Israel. I still think that this is a working, this is an experiment that we're still, working on. That there are chances that we can just get it right, but there's something that is missing. There's a lacuna. There's that we have. We're not connecting. And once that connection is done, and we can see that, listen, if we are, after all, in sports, we agree. There are areas where we agree. Nigerians are doing well, outside, the country. And so we have all these competencies. We know what is right. We have gone out. We've seen how societies are run. We enjoy it. We live it. We behave well when we go outside. So what is the problem that is preventing us from, bringing down those competencies? Trying to develop our country the way those countries where we've seen, them develop. What's stopping us from doing that? So those are the issues that we have to tackle and take out ethnicity, because those things are blinding us, religion and so on. They are blinding us. It's not peculiar to us. Other countries have issues. They have problems. They have challenges. They have diversities in religion and ethnicity. Some of them have been able to use those diversities for their own good. So it is the application. And some people talk about the constitution. No, our constitution is bad. There's no constitution that is perfect. It's a working document. And as you work, principle of there's a Latin phraseology, solvito ambulando. It means that once you begin to work on a problem, you are getting close to the solution. So, and most of the inventions that we have had have just come out of mistakes or accident. Penicillin, for instance, was accidental. So the experiment of nation building has to go on. But in doing that, you have to have a vision. You have to have a goal that are measurable. And you have to have leaders who are focused, who are ready to deal and grapple with the situation. Otherwise, we'll just be going round and round and round in circles. I think these are the issues here. Are we going to continue to have people who think more of religion and ethnicity? Yes, we're going to have. But there has to be a leader who has to say, play down those ethnicities, play down those religion, and even if you want to use them for the common good. We see the picture of Dubai. It's an emirate. It's a Muslim emirate. People flock in there. But they have rules. Don't do this. You don't drink this. You don't drink alcohol. You don't do that. You don't do that. But people are free. There's a limit to what you can do. Over there. If it conflicts with the rules and the regulations there, then there's a problem. But people go there generally and behave well. So we must have goals. We must have vision. We must have targets that we want to measure. And when we see people who are not, working in tandem with the vision, then we must call them out. We must have institutions that are developed that we can use to drive, this vision. And I think these are some of the things that we are missing. And once we can.
Yeah, go ahead. Summarize. I wanted to ask a question about, because while you were describing, that's giving your talk, I was imagining the other layers of problem we tend to have in Nigeria. This thing where somebody will grow up in a state, born there, grow up there, and when they want to vote, they'll say, where is your father from? You have to go to that place, or for one thing or the other, you have to go to your state of origin in Nigeria when you are a Nigerian citizen. That issue is quite insidious to deal with, because you can sympathize with the fact that people in certain areas don't want other groups to come and overwhelm their population and take over and change their culture, in other words. And then because they own a stake in the state, now they have voting rights and everything, they change the nature of the state. Or at the same time, you have a problem whereby if you want the nation to integrate, sooner or later, you have to allow people to become technically citizens of that state. The question arises, how do you do that without changing the complexion of that state? And I think maybe this is the question that even people in the UK are wrestling with. And this is one of the reasons why they do the life in the UK test. And they insist that you have to, for want of a better word, become a more English kind of person before they allow you to become a citizen now. So in other words, I'm thinking maybe could that apply to the Nigerian context, whereby to allow people to become, let's say you are born in Kanu and you are originally from the southeast and you want to be somebody that is from Kanu, you should have a pathway to become somebody that is from Kanu. Like if you convert to Islam or you embrace their culture in the north, then you can technically be, and you should have a path to having it. This thing whereby you are frozen out, even when you are married to somebody from there, you are born there and everything, just because your father is from some other place, you have to go back there. In a country that somewhere along the line, I think it needs to break down if you want to have a nation that becomes more and more
Father,
it needs to break down.
it's a challenge everywhere, even here in the US. It's challenge. I mean, the present thing, what you're seeing here, people are some leaders are looking at the demography and say, listen, if we continue to go this way, then we'll lose our majority. And if we do, then there are consequences. You're looking at South Africa. That was basically why, that's why you are having the issues you have down in South Africa. Now, let me tell you something, a story about myself. I I was a contractor, to Lagos State government, and at the time that I got in, I want to be frank about this. It was difficult. Okay, let me just give you this example. When I was doing a quotation for a proposal, they told me, because I had a company, and they had told me, when you are signing your name after your proposal, don't put your name, put a Yoruba name. Because when they see an Igbo name, that disqualifies you. That's been the system. But let me tell you something, because leadership is critical. Then you had someone in Lagos State then who was the chief of staff to the governor. Young man, bright, completely detribalized. Yoruba man, completely detribalized. And that sounded to him like, what are you talking about? So I signed my name.
Hello?
I signed my name and I got the proposal. I got the job. And then, anyway, I'm not going to say this, but I had a problem because at some point, at some level, because of the size of the job, they wanted to know who I am, who is, they wanted, I didn't know. I was just getting to the system. They wanted to know who owns the company, who are the directors of the company. I didn't know then that they were trying to find out to get some understanding about the company and so on and so forth. This is at the top level. You won't believe that. After the thing had been approved by the governor himself, but you have to go through the tenders board, which is like a formality, because the person who is going to use the service or the product had said, yes, I agree. And so I got, someone tried to frustrate me. Someone highly placed tried to frustrate me. But he didn't know how I came into the system, because it was maybe at that time, it was a little bit unusual for that kind of name to come in without knowing who is backing him. But because of this guy who won't go for that kind of nonsense, he ensured that I didn't have problems. That guy eventually became governor in Lagos State.
Wow. Okay.
And he became one of the best that Lagos ever had. Completely a detribalized gentle person. Now, I'm saying this to say that leadership is critical. Because when you have a leadership that looks beyond ethnicity and religious provincialism and is looking at, can you do the job no matter where you come from, then the country can move forward. The challenge that we have today is that, where is he from? Who is he? Who is his father? What is his religion? And those things may be okay, but I think the critical thing to look at is, can he do the job? Can this person do the job?
Yeah,
So
sorry,
unfortunately,
I want to respect, other
Yeah,
guests here,
Polo,
but
Polo is
I
Polo's
know, but
listen.
I just wanted to, forefathers, I just want to say something. This is message from the heart from Tony. If you are an unbiased person, the questions you ask after this thing that this gentleman said, never ask them again. I'm shocked listening to what I listened, but we know that this is true. When people are saying, no, there's an agenda against these people, who is scared of these people? How can Nigeria stands on you can say 4 legs, right? We have minorities when we have the other 3 guys, and then you remove 1 leg, and it's a strong leg that you have removed, and everybody wants to attack this one strong leg. It cannot work. How can it work? And many of the other people who are the minorities, especially, they're all classified as that 1 leg. So you're taking 2 legs out. If me and you, all of us here, hopefully things have changed a little bit now. If me and you are in Kanu, all of us here, and there's a riot, they will kill all of us. They will call us Igbos and they kill all of us. It's true. If you don't want to agree, good luck.
I'm not disagreeing with that one.
Thank you, Odi.
I wanted to ask a few follow-up questions. When did this event occur that you described regarding the discrimination that was going on?
You don't have to
say specifically.
Yes, I'm just saying this because even from what I've said, if you read in between the lines, you almost get.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's more than 20 years ago, just around 20 years ago or so.
No. Yeah, it doesn't matter, but it's current. It's current. But what I'm saying is that there was a system before. The point I'm trying to make is there was a system that was not inclusive. Okay, so it was just like you would say Tiwa, our own. So anybody who tries to invade, you say, who is this one? Where is it coming from? And then you had someone who came in to say, listen, no, we have to open this space. And because Tiwa has not helped us, there's a bigger picture. We can open the space. There's enough room for everybody. But what we should be looking at is, even if our own person if he can't do it, there's no reason why we should give it to him, because it's going to injure us. So if we can get someone who can do it and is from somewhere else, and we're sure he will do the good job, he's a Nigerian, give him the job.
Yeah, I see
that changed because we now opened up the space, and then he broke down all those barriers. Where, listen, subsequently, the same people who close the space, every time I come in and have a proposal, they are the ones that will fight for me. I'm telling you, they are the ones that will fight for me and defend me and say, no, this is the guy. He does this job. He's good. In fact, I had a situation once where there was a conspiracy against me. Serious conspiracy. There was ethnic this, there was religious that, there was, all kinds of things. Somebody I didn't know. This was someone who told me, who stood to say, no, I know this guy. This thing you have said cannot be true. It's not true. And the information reached me, I was shedding tears. This was not someone who was close to me, but he stood for me and said, no, this thing is not true. This is not true. This guy, we know him, we've been watching him, he does his job, and I stand out. I'm praising myself. I stand out there, I became a model for others, in terms of the job that I do. But the person who did that was someone who felt that, no, this system has not been helping us. We have to expand this space. We have to, open this space and let the best, if you are the best, we have something to learn from you, let it be. So if you're speaking generally in Nigeria, I think part of what has pulled us down is, even when we see mediocrity, we are ready to sacrifice it for meritocracy. That's why we are failing. That's why the civil service has collapsed. That's why the judiciary is collapsing. You hear people saying, where are the Putas? Where are the Kayode Shaws? Where are the, these are gurus who would see white and say it's white. And when they make a ruling, you hardly can fault them. Take it anywhere, you hardly can. It stands out as
So
locus classical.
from what you've described, there was discrimination in specific area of a sector of the Nigerian state or a private institution. That discrimination that was going on, somebody broke it, and then they became full converts to the Tony kingdom, and they were fighting for you to save you from any persecution and stuff like that. Did I even if I simplified it,
Yeah,
did I get it this right?
no, not just me. I just happen to be, the experimental. Thing. What I'm saying that I'm saying that, you see, if we in dealing with our country, if we stop this narrow mindedness and our perspective, limited by all these cleavages that are narrow, that would only satisfy sectional interest, and look at the bigger picture that will benefit everybody, then we can move forward. And it's reflecting in every area of our life, every sphere of our life. Even, unfortunately, even in private companies too, where the best is supposed to be chosen, you still find, so you have our institutions now going down because we have now reduced them, taking out what we should be looking at, which is efficiency, and we're looking at some other factors that are ingrained and killing our system. That's whether it's in political leadership, whether it's in all aspects of life. So that is my
Thank
point.
you.
If someone comes to, yes, that's the
Let me
point I'm
bring
trying to
Polo
make, and
in.
that's the way I see it.
Polo is in Nigeria. You are in Nigeria too?
Yes, I am.
No,
Am I
Tony is in
audible?
Nigeria. I just want to confirm Tony is in Nigeria.
No, I'm not. How can you say that? I'm not in Nigeria.
Oh, look at that. You see how he answered? How can I
Papa, how
say
can you
that?
say I'm in Nigeria? I'm not in Nigeria.
What is wrong with being in Nigeria? So,
Oh, is the question, are you
yeah,
in Nigeria or Nigerian or a Nigerian?
no,
I'm
I
a
asked
Nigerian
whether
living in
he
Nigeria
was.
as we speak.
Yes, you are in Nigeria, but Tony is
And
not.
I'm
I
a
just wanted to
Nigerian.
confirm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Polo. Please. Go ahead. I was trying to find out what you said that was offensive in the previous live stream, and for the life of me, I couldn't.
Yeah,
Even if you,
I will
even if
summarize
you,
it for you in few
yeah,
sentences.
let me finish. Even if you mischaracterized Jonathan as an Igbo man, but I did understand where you were coming from when you talked about the constitutional conference that was hosted during his time in the office. But that should tell you something, that people feel sensitive about these things, and especially when they feel some of their. I wouldn't even say they feel. Most of the issues that they are feeling this pain was a conflict that was inflicted from the north. So you can see why they react, and I will ask that you try to understand where they are coming from. And sometimes not everybody reacts the same way to the same trauma, and I don't think they truly mean it. Most of the things that they say to you, because most of these people are nice people, they're just easygoing. But when they hear you talk, it reminds them of what they've been told, and they then
Why is there
Good.
an echo? I don't know.
Good.
Why is there an echo?
okay. Let me see if I can get rid of that echo. I did try to get rid of it, but it didn't go. Let me see. I don't think
I
this
think
background
I
noise.
think Polo can mute himself. If he can mute himself, I'm not sure.
Okay,
Yes,
Polo.
I agree.
Polo, I think I finished speaking. Polo, you can speak now. Just tell us what you think about what you've heard and whatever you wanted to say. I know you had something to say in the previous chat too.
Yes, thank you for fathers. So ideally what I did is I deliberately put my name, humanist jihadist, but then I changed it to Pullo for real just to see how those people react, because I realized that they are all the members of the group that are talking, they are like-minded. They have never had any argument against their own belief. Nobody has told them. And as this gentleman rightly said, if you are indoctrinated with certain beliefs when you are young, you grew up with that. And if somebody says something contrary to what you believe, you have to deal with the cognitive dissonance. So I was like, okay, let me play a devil advocate here and see how they will react. And then what I said was, I say the Igbos were the one that caused the problem themselves. They are the one that oversaw the first coup in Nigeria. They were the one that one of their men is maybe Ojukwu is the one that refused to listen to his fellows' advice and decided to secede from Nigeria. And he has not been accepted by any country, therefore he's not getting any support. And to get a support, he needs the United Nations organization which respect the boundary and territorial integrity of each nation. Recognizing these people without some kind of formality and due process will be like overriding the integrity of Nigeria. I mean, the what do you call it? The geographical integrity of Nigeria. And then I said, okay, again.
Pull up 1 minute. That's
Sorry,
exactly,
please. I didn't interrupt. Please,
that's exactly what you said.
please.
That's exactly what you said. So I want to commend you.
Seriously, please. Let me just land, please.
Okay.
I will summarize it. Don't worry, please. So, and then I was calm, and all of them was also saying things against me. The first thing was, once they see Pullo for real, they already profile me as being a Fulani guy, a Muslim from the north. They don't actually have the fact. It may be I would just put any name I want, but this is the problem that this guy is mentioning that we are having. Once you see a Ukechuku, you assume a lot of things about him. You have never known him, whether he's a nice guy, he's honest, he's everything. You just go back to your indoctrination idea that you have been indoctrinated under. So this is the problem that we are facing. If you cannot accommodate a view that is not your own view, or be calm and then respond to that person with data and then show him that, hey guy, what you're saying, this is wrong, that is not how it happened, this is the version of the story that I have. Maybe we can find a common ground there, and then I may accept what I did is wrong. Yes, you are right in this area, in this area, and this area. Okay, how do we forge ahead? Let's stop looking backward. Let's start forging ahead. Since we like it or not, we were here. We don't get to choose, as I think I don't get to choose, and all of you here, you don't get to choose who your parents are. You don't get to choose where you are born. You don't get to choose which kind of religion you'll be brought up under. You don't get to choose anything. Tribe. It's not like you have won some lottery or you pass some exam that makes you a Fulani or an Igbo or an Hausa. You are born in that area. So some people they feel like, okay, I can't betray my people. I was born there, even though it is not my choice. This country, whether you like it or not, the Igbos are here and the Fulanis and everybody is here, whether we like it or not. We were born here. We don't have any other place. Whether we call ourselves Biafrans or Duda or whatever, we were born here and it is not by our choice. So why will you force somebody to be a spokesperson of another person because he is in his tribe? There's another misconception here. It's like, okay, if a Yoruba person is ruling, therefore Yoruba people are enjoying. That's not right. The market that you go to as an Igbo guy to buy stuff is the same market that an average Yoruba person goes to. If a bag of rice costs you 7,000 naira, that is exactly the amount you will pay as a Yoruba guy, even if it is the Yoruba guy that is ruling. But we feel like, okay, we will only be safe under these people, even if it is to the detriment of your society. Look at Buhari when he was ruling. He's a Fulani guy. He is from his area, Katsina. And then the number of terrorist attacks that have been happening there almost silence everything about Boko Haram. The light has gone, has been removed from Boko Haram, and it focuses on his state. And he couldn't do anything. And they still say, at least he is the president, is better. What? How would somebody just be in a president and inflicting pain on everybody, and then you feel like because he is your tribal man, you have to defend him? Why is that? Even though you didn't choose to be in that tribe, you're. So since we find ourselves here in Nigeria, we have nowhere to go. We want to make it a better place for all of us where it works. Then it has to start with an uncomfortable conversation with the people that you don't like, or the people that whose ideas you don't share, whose value you don't share. You have to find a common ground and forge ahead. We have seen a lot of kingdom destroyed, a lot of kingdom built based on this. After they had their civil wars, they come and negotiate, and it took them long before they could achieve what they have achieved. Nigeria is very young, democratically speaking, compared to other Western countries that we are trying to emulate. And those Western countries have gone through a lot before they come to their.
I hear what you're saying.
I just want to tell you that I know what I was saying is wrong. I deliberately did that to see the reaction of the people that feel like this platform is their own platform. Whatever is not in their own opinion, it should not be said.
That's the question that I wanted to ask Polo, because the things that he said, the things that he said are totally wrong, historically wrong.
Can he mute his? Okay, good. He did.
Yes, the things that he said are historically wrong, incorrect. And if you came to the platform prepared with your boxing glove, prepared to trigger people to see what their reaction is, that's unfortunate. That is very, very wrong, because that's why I told you when you were saying that the Igbos caused the problem themselves by the first coup. That's why I said that that's not true, because Igbos have been slaughtered even before independence. Okay, so I think Polo has a mindset which is wrong, because I have been in a platform with you, forefathers, if you remember, when we're doing Philosophical Sunday and we're discussing about God and all that stuff. He was there. That was the first time that I saw him, and we had a nice discussion. Nobody harassed him. He introduced himself. Nobody harassed him, and I remember too that we also have had subsequent discussions. But you see, you have to understand also the issues when I know you feel bad as a Fulani when they're talking about the problem that we're having with ranchers and stuff like that. Any Fulani person will feel bad, because it is like you're painting an entire ethnic group with a brush, because there are Fulani people that are good. There are Fulani people who don't like what is happening. I have seen Fulani people even on this on Facebook who are saying, listen, this thing that you guys are doing, my people are doing, it's not right. It shouldn't be, So anybody will feel bad, just as any other person will feel bad with the kind of thing that you just said today. If you came there to trigger them, knowing that the issue that they're discussing is Biafra, and you came to upset them.
Sorry,
I may have missed it.
I've been joining this platform for quite a while, even though if I didn't join the conversation, I would be watching from the YouTube. All I see is almost the same people that have been attending are the same people that are there, and all the talking points are the same. Okay, let me introduce a different talking point and see how you guys react. And then, if you remember earlier, I even said, imagine this is the National Assembly and we are trying to talk about Biafra. And then I said something that you don't like. All of a sudden, all the participants, the room become rowdy. You cannot even hear what other people are saying. It become rowdy, uncontrollable. Even the host was fed up with that. Sorry.
It is the way you say
was
it.
fed up. And then,
it is the way you say
it. I know it is the way I said it.
So
I'm telling you, this is the perspective that many Northerners have. Listen, please. This is the ideology that many Northerners have. So suppose you get a Northerner who doesn't understand, even like I said, I understood what I was saying. I know it is wrong. But imagine if somebody already believed all these things and he is a senator representing somewhere else and he said all this stuff. Will you just become too emotional and not trying to correct the historical fact and then tell him, okay, look at this data, look at this, look at that, you're wrong? Instead of
Pulo,
doing
let
that,
me
then
answer
you
you.
start insulting. And how do you get into something that common ground?
Pulo, let me answer you. This topic is very emotional. My dad was killed during the war. My town was totally exterminated.
And so is my uncle.
No, hold on. Let me tell you. So when you come with issues like that are very emotional, and you are talking the way you are talking, you don't expect someone like me not to challenge you. There are families, there are people in my town that were totally exterminated from families, totally exterminated. So people have experiences. When you come, it's like somebody has an injury that is been nursing and is trying to heal. And then you just come and then you just open the wound, open the pain. You think the person is going to clap for you and laugh for you. You don't do that
Okay,
kind of a thing.
okay, so Tony, I think we need to
I
maybe
feel like
break
you are
it up.
matured enough to
Can I
understand
say
how to
something?
differentiate
Can I say
between
something?
civil
can I
approach
just land?
and
Since
uncivilized
I,
approach.
Let's
So
allow
maybe I am the youngest, and
Njenje
all
to
of
say
you
something.
are expert in your field.
no, let me
And
just
then they
land
may say,
something.
okay, I have to step back and then analyze.
Jide say
I've had a lot of
Polo,
things that I don't agree with, but I
Trust
didn't
me,
act emotionally.
Hold on.
let me
Jide
just land the point, and then
Jide has been very patient now for everyone.
Jide is my man. Don't worry. Jide will give me the time.
Will you let
Jide, correct guy. Jide, don't worry. Yes, man.
him?
So, Pulo, like, I think Pulo has already aired his view, and I think we need to move on from that. And the idea is, I think I found it like even kind of different. I never had anybody do what he did, actually. And it's good to know that at least he said he's owning up to say what I said is wrong. It's difficult for many people. Some people know that even forefather, I know he knows some of the things he says is wrong, but he continues to say it.
No,
You
I
see,
don't.
Pulo is saying,
No. Anything I say,
I
I
am
think is right.
saying I said what is wrong just to see what you guys say, and he's corrected the narrative. Everything that Pulo said, hold on now, is what we have been saying here. We need to change mindset and narrative. And let me just drop one last point about what I said before. So we don't. The Spanish people arrived America 1492. While the Portuguese arrived Nigeria 1472. So they came to our Nigeria before they went to America. Just for you to know, 20 years before.
Yeah, I know that now. So okay, let's leave that one in the meantime. So, Polo, what is it precisely you said that you know was wrong? Because I needed to get that. I didn't get it fully. What is it you said that you believe was wrong?
No, I said a lot of stuff, but let me start with what I said that is right. But these people thought I was wrong when I said Jonathan is from Biafra. If you take the Nigerian map and take Biafran map, you can see that Bayelsa falls under that within that territory that they call Biafra. I'm not saying he is an Igbo guy. And then somebody was telling me, I said he's an Igbo guy. I said you're not listening probably. That's why I maintain my calm if they are saying something, because I know what I said and I can defend it. Sometimes I am responsible.
Sorry.
I am responsible for what I said. I'm not responsible for what
You
they
need to let
understood.
me ask questions. I do ask quite a lot of
Please.
questions
I
because
didn't ask
there was a specific no, not you. There was a specific thing you said that Tony said. That's what you said that was wrong.
But let's move on from
Yeah, he
this.
talked about
Let's
saying
move
that
on.
Igbo. When I said the Igbos were the source of the problem, then he said Igbos are getting killed even before the coup. So I don't understand what he's trying to say here. Does it mean that it is good if your people are killed? You cannot respond. Your response should be through a coup d'etat.
Yeah, let me
And
share
then killing
information.
a lot of people and expect them not to revenge. Just like when I said something, you take offense. You kill my people, I'll take offense. Definitely, you must wait for the revenge. Just as you said now, if I say something against you or I do something against you, I have to expect your retaliation or some sort of negotiation and agreement. Otherwise, once you get an opportunity to retaliate, you will retaliate.
Look, this thing is mundane. Let's move on.
I have
Nobody
one
will
question I
win.
will ask him. Hold on, I have a question I will ask him regarding the massacres. The previous massacre
what
in
are you guys
the
doing, man?
southeast. Hold on now.
Are
Hold
you,
it
are you
now.
changing
Hold on now.
history?
I'm trying
We
to.
know what happened
It's a
already.
topic now. It's a topic.
No, I thought Jide was going to talk next.
Yeah, hold on. So the massacre that happened before the one in 1966, that one was, I think 1967 actually. That one was about 100. Nothing similar to 1966 at all. About 100 people lost their lives in that one. The 1966 one was far, far worse, like compared to the one that happened this year previously. So that is a very, very significant difference. And this is why many people remember it. It's not only the massacre that happened in the north, then you combine it with the civil war, 3 years blockade, starving, and all the rest. So all those things, I'm not going to argue that people have a right to this thing, grief in their own way. But I just wish that when we are on this platform,
I need somebody to correct
our
me on this,
Islam
please.
brothers can talk about things that
Please,
will move the
I
country
need somebody
forward.
to correct me on this, please.
Go ahead.
When I said the constitution was superseded by a person from Biafra land, they told me I'm wrong. The 1999 constitution, who are the senators there?
So,
They are also,
what
wait,
do we
please,
say
let
about the
me land,
people that have
wait,
been
please.
massacred in Benue
Oh my
and
Lord,
in Plateau? Can we just move
we are
forward?
mixing two things at the same time.
Polo, we have already dealt with that issue. Polo, we've already dealt with that issue. We know that.
Let's finish this and then we go to the next one. I just said I started with correct, please. But you can start it with simple go.
Polo, I have a question to ask you. So let's not go out into the. If we go into that one, we're going to get lost. The question I wanted to ask you, Polo, is that in your mind, is there anything Northerners have done that you consider wrong to the Southeasterners?
To Nigeria as a whole.
No, to specifically
there are lots of
to the
things
Southeasterners.
like okay, they use their large population and which means they control the command chain during Biafra, and they kill a lot of people, including innocent people. You cannot just say they are collateral damage and then pretend as if nothing has happened. History classes were there earlier, but deliberately they removed it from the subjects in secondary school because it pains when you start talking about Biafra. You will be biased if you are the writer as a
See,
writer.
the
Either
danger of
support the
what you're
Fulani
saying.
Hausa or support the Biafra. You cannot be comfortable.
This is
I'm saying this,
it's
please.
not a
I
school
don't like
teacher
it,
or
and I know
lecturer
it
that
is
is
wrong.
talking to.
Yeah, but he's saying some of the things he knows or he believes
No,
that
he
the
doesn't know
Northerners did
anything.
wrong.
What are you saying? He's still confusing you and he's dribbling you, and you're still going tomorrow night. You say I was just dribbling you. What is
Did you hear what he
please.
said? He's saying
This
that
is an
Northerners
honest,
kill innocent
normal
Southeasterners.
conversation. I
That
said
is
they
quite
kill
honest. Now
innocent
he's
people,
saying
and
Northerners
then
kill
you cannot pretend
innocent
that this thing
Southeasterners.
has not happened. I'm saying it. Am I not? I say there are a lot of things that have been done, especially during that Biafra. A lot of people lost their life, and they are not fighters. And even in the just war, that you have to invade or go to war based on this, and that, there is no rule that said that you should kill non-combatant children and women or destroy other people's livelihood entirely, wipe them out, or having the intention of carrying a genocidal war. That's not good. That's wrong, and it is the Northerners that led that war. Yakubu Gawan is from the north. Even though, apart from the president himself, there are other people that are very prominent at that time. They are the one that called the shot. They are the one that give the command, go there, go there, go there. They are the one that fund it. So they are from mostly from the north. This is not something that I'm proud of. And you cannot force me. Sorry, what I said earlier, just because I happen to find myself in the north, you cannot force me to be an advocate. I mean, as a defender of the north, just to come here as a spokesperson for the whole northern Nigeria. This is my own personal opinion, not the opinion of the northerners.
Okay, so Plateau State in Nigeria, I need to hone. And this thing. What's his Jide? Please go ahead. I know you wanted to say something.
I have a couple of things to say. You see, I don't know. Okay, let me don't even. I don't want to sound like I'm being judgmental. I understand how people feel. Whatever is everybody's feelings on this platform is very valid, particularly those that were affected by the war. I understand, and I don't want to downplay it. Right? I'm Yoruba. I wasn't born in that war. I don't know of any of my family member that was a victim of that war or that was involved. I will say that I understand the pain victims of that war, people that are victims of that war, or that are descendants of the victims of that war may be going through in terms of trauma. So whatever feeling they have is valid. That's why I make sure I listen to everybody's feelings. It's a very sensitive topic. It's very complex. But I'll be coming from a completely different perspective about the Biafra war. Like I said, that a lot of us do not talk about, or maybe we mention bits and pieces of it, but we still do not recognize it. You see, all the events that happened after 1960 independence, quote unquote independence, everything, all the chains of events that happened before the Biafra war was a product of British colonialism.
Thank you. This is all I just, thank you, Jide. This is just it. What are we outside this one? Jide has just summarized it.
He said one thing and he just jumped on top of it.
Oh, that's the summary of everything. All this back and forth. Northerners did this one. The Northerners go by their own mind to direct. This was a war between the British and the Eastern Nigeria. It was not a war between Nigeria. They just used the North and the Southwest that we have as pawns in the game. Even the North Central now. Is it not the same North Central that is being massacred? We need to know our enemies and know how to, we are not
who are your enemies now?
Jide hasn't said anything new. Because what did they say?
Jide, please talk about the political aspect of it.
What Jide said has been mentioned in this platform before. Jide has been saying it, has been pointing us to what colonialism has done to Nigeria. But what he just said is not new, because I have also mentioned it here when Professor Moore came, and I said, after the reaction to his appearance on the platform, I had said that they asked the question, would the war have taken place? Was it avoidable? And I said that war, from my own perspective, would have still happened. Maybe not Biafra, but something else would have happened, because the way Nigeria was put together was such that all those primordial differences that we have, fears and sentiments and so on, have not been properly dealt with. Because if you look at the antecedents before independence, they were there. They were mutual suspicion. The foundation was shaky. So
but
we
the
entered into
heavy-handedness of the war
Please, I
wouldn't have
need
been
just
like
1 minute
that.
to summarize my view, please. Just 1 minute is okay for me. Just 1 minute. I just want to look at the political aspect of it. If you go to Biafra states, you'll find that from councillor up to governor, they are all Igbos. At least they are all Igbos. So if the state has failed because the federal allocation is not given to them,
no, stop dishing out falsehoods.
no.
Stop
Why
saying
can't
what
we
is
blame
false.
our leaders for that?
No,
If you are getting the
the vice
allocation,
president of
which you should
Biafra
have
was
used to
not
better
Igbo.
your state, but you still didn't use it just because you don't have the
Just give him
political
the
will.
answer
And you
to that.
redirect people
No,
anger
Pulo, you
towards
cannot
something that
continue
happened
this
Here's the
motive.
answer.
when you are not born and I was not born.
Pulo, there's something called exclusive list in Nigeria. Okay, it's like 60 something. They've thought out a little bit where you have some that's coming off, going into a concurrent list. In that exclusive list, it's the federal government that has the prerogative, right? Including, say, you want to open a WAF, you want to drill for oil. There are a lot of things that the states cannot do. That's the federal government. That's including security to protect who comes and goes from your area, who's armed or who drives a cattle. So, but
that still didn't solve the problem. Does it mean that does it mean that a Yoruba
Let's do by time, because if you're delaying Jide's turn to finish, then it's actually me yielding the time. Because after Jide, then it's me. Let's go. Pulo, hold your peace and get on the video. Try to obey the rules of the platform. All right, let's go.
Thank you.
Let me continue what I'm saying. So
I'm not the one that has been interrupting, sir. Sorry.
I'm saying you should be on camera. Here, you have to be on camera when you're talking. But if you have,
but you don't have to interrupt when people are talking. You have been the one interrupting when I was talking. So you are not following me as well.
It looks like Polo is beginning to join the Rofo crowd. Polo, I thought you were a gentleman there. Polo is beginning to join the Rofo crowd.
For proper is true now. If the man is not, you have to remove him. If I turn off my video, you remove him.
Polo, put your camera on. They are beginning to try to pick on you now. You see all these underhanded attacks. You see now his camera is
not underhanded attack. This is it not the rule?
Yeah, it's the rule, to be fair, but you know, when you choose to remember it, is what I'm just talking about. Okay, yeah, Jide, please go on.
I only said one sentence. Okay.
One sentence. The moment Jide say one sentence, everybody jumps in.
People are very emotional about it, and I understand. That's why I'm not. I understand.
Yeah,
so the thing is, we need to understand that the divide and rule strategy they use in Nigeria and the military, which is a proxy of the British, this culminated into what happened in 1967, from the 1966 school up until the war. So when we know that background, that's understandable. So now there's something I want to talk about. You see, this division that we have, it has a larger consequence. I know providers have emphasized on it sometimes, but we need to understand this consequence in a larger scale. The more this division continues, this ethno-religious division, the more it continues, we are moving towards a genocidal zone. That's a fact. Because the way societies and civilizations think is when it comes to their survival, they unite. They unite. Look at what happened. We are here in the US. We know the history of the US. We need to, you see, when we talk about imperialism, Western imperialism, it's not just Nigeria. They did it in so many parts of the world. What do we think caused the death of Native Americans in North America? They'll come and tell you it is starvation or it is disease that Europeans brought. It was intertribal war. Intertribal war. That was what caused this. I don't know, someone was there earlier talking about how we need to, instead of us to negotiate, we should fight each other. Let's go and look at the beaver wars from 1600 to 1700. Go and look at the beaver wars. Go and look at how the West, how they use the Native Americans to fight each other. That was how they committed genocide on the Native Americans. Go and look at the Indian, what are they calling it? The Indian-French War of 1754. Let's go and look at it. This was how they committed genocide. We are here in America. Which Native American are we seeing? This is their land. You think British carry gun and went to kill all of them? It was a tribal war. We need to grow up. You see, the way things are going in Nigeria is going to be, if nothing is being done radically, in fact, it's going to be out of control. We need to really stop these divisions, these ethno-religious divisions. We need to grow up, because what is coming ahead of us is going to be damning. It's going to be very, very damning. You understand? Like, I don't understand. The people that was to blame for this war should not be, is it Yoruba or is it Igbo? Is it the Northerners? It is simply our elites. Our elites betrayed us. The military and the so-called political elites, all these men they call for founding fathers, they were the ones that betrayed us from the start. Kwame Nkrumah, he convinced them they should join the Pan-African anti-imperialist movement. They never joined. They never joined. Awolowo and co. They never joined. They went to negotiate with the British. And the British played them. The military, they were for their own interest. All of them. They were for their own interest. We're talking about the Biafra war. See, if I'm going to talk about the Biafra, let's even go back to history. If I was going to say, okay, the Biafra, I want that Biafra. Yes, what was done at that time to the Igbos and to the other groups that were oppressed, the genocide that was committed was evil. No doubt about that. I'm not dismissing that. But let's even assume that that Biafran Republic was going to even stand on his ground and defeat Nigerian states, they should have gone ideological. That's what nobody has ever spoken about on this platform. That was the peak of the Cold War. They could have gone ideological. The Soviet Union was very powerful. But instead of Juku and Co., they were for their own interests. They could have gone communists. They could have gone communist at that time. Soviet Union support them. Look at Vietnam. They defeated the French directly because the Soviet Union supported them. That is simple. Look at what happened. It didn't go ideological. Look at what happened. Look at the people that supported the Biafran struggle. France, they were defeated by Algeria. They were defeated by, what are they calling it? By Vietnam. They were completely weakened. Israel was not, they're a powerful country, but they could only show so much limit because they had diplomatic relationship with Nigeria. So even if we're talking about a state that was going to liberate itself, it could have gone communists. And trust me, the Nigerians wouldn't have defeated it to God. That's a fact. But that's going back to history. Now let's look at the lessons of that war. And now look at what has happened afterwards. Even after Nigerian states won that war, they still had the opportunity to go ideological and revolutionary, but still they didn't. Gowon went to go and toast the West. He became a complete puppet of the West. And when Murtala Muhammad came to power, he was trying to, even though Murtala Muhammad was a genocidal killer, he was not a saint, he was a genocidal killer. He killed millions of people in the East. You know, there was the Enugu massacre. I think it was one that pioneered it. But Murtala Muhammad was trying to move Nigeria away from these imperialist chains that we have found ourselves. But look at what happened. They assassinated him. CIA orchestrated the killing of Murtala Muhammad. Look at where we are today. We are talking about Igbo, who is at fault in that war, which ethnic group is the victim, is the power. We need to move ahead. We need to move away from this conversation and start talking about how we should lead to our survival and our developments. Like, we need to break away from this conversation. We need to grow it. Like, we need to talk about it in a more positive lane towards how we can be anti-imperialist, because the trauma that this Westerners has done to us is unbearable. It is not the Hausa or Igbos that created this trauma. It is the British and our elites. Our elites are their proxies. We need to go against our elites. Our elites in our military are our enemies, not all this tribal nonsense.
Jide, thank you very much for that, because I really appreciate your approach to this. And my worry is that people are not where you are at the moment. The elites are, if you study the elites of all the world, to dislodge them, they are some of the most difficult people to dislodge. It's like a car driver. While the passengers are inside the car, to be able to remove that car driver without destroying the whole nation is almost impossible if that driver doesn't want to move. And if you look at, in the case of the French, they beheaded all their their monarchs, not all of them, they beheaded quite a lot of them, and a lot of elites when they had their revolution. In the case of the UK, the king, the head was taken off, and there was a war that was fought. Later on, they came back again, they settled midway. But in the case of Russia, they wiped out everything. Many East European countries, China, they didn't just wipe out their kingdom, they just wiped out, they even tried to destroy everything that they consider traditional. So nations tend to have a purge. When they try to purge the elite, it tends to be very painful. I don't know why it has to be, but they tend to be very hard to dislodge. And that is the problem you are facing here. And our elites, they are not just hard to dislodge, they are also empowered by foreigners too. So, and that becomes a double trouble for us to deal with. And this is why, when you say those things that you say, it's very clear that, in my eyes, that is true. But would any fellow Nigerian care about those things? Most would just, until they see fire. And when the day of judgment arrives, and all the consequences of all our iniquities and forgetfulness, and not listening to Jide and not listening to me, when the time comes, then everybody will remember that they say it, innit? They say it. Hopefully we survive it when they come. So I will leave it at that.
You know what is paining me? Like, you know what is paining me about this thing? Like, we keep talking about let's go back to history. Let's go back to history. But, like, this one is clear to see what others have done.
They can't see it. Yeah, I'm telling you. Even when they see it intellectually, they cannot feel it. You have to. You see, when the Japanese try to tell each other what to do after the war, they will understand each other. When the Chinese tell each other what to do after that war against the Japanese, they will understand. They will understand instinctively when you tell them you need to protect your own, you need to keep your wealth, you need to do all these things. They will understand because they've seen what it's like not to do those things. But our people have not seen that. They don't know. No matter what you tell them now, they will not see. They don't even know the enemy. They don't even know. When you tell them imperialists, what do you think they care about imperialists? When you tell them the British, they're like, what British? Is this the people I see that I like? No, they are not our enemy. I like them. If anything, I worship them. So they don't believe you. Many Nigerians will not see the way you see it at all. And the only time they will see it is if something happens and they see their hand in the jar and they say, this one is not good. Oh, you can't do that. And then you have a problem. But as it is right
Honestly,
now.
like, I'm here in the US, right? It's like, clearly, like, we can learn from everything that happened in the US, Native Americans. Man, I read one book, was not months ago, about how they use Native Americans. And I was thinking about Nigeria like this. I was like, God damn. Exactly the same playbook. They were using one tribe against the other, the Iroquois, like the Fulanis. They went to go and attack other tribes.
And I agree with that your
attack the
statement.
Iroquois.
I agree with that your statement. One of the powerful statements you made was that you said the tribalism that we are doing, this game we are playing, is heading us on a path to genocide. That is a very powerful statement, and it's so true.
How can it be true when there's already been genocide and there is genocide going on?
That one.
Let me speak. So
what is worse than one genocide, two genocides? Sorry.
Let me speak.
Sorry,
So
I'll let you go.
I got
next.
something to do. I have something to do.
I just want to buttress the
Please
point.
leave Oga Pansat.
I just want to buttress the point he made. You know me now, I'm a very poetic guy. So when
you think
so you know how I imagine what Jide said. That's why I agree with him. Like when I came into the Nigerian space and I hear the way Nigerians talk, it almost felt like Nigerians were doused with petrol, and they are waiting to be set ablaze. And that by that ablaze I mean fight each other, which is the genocide that Jide is referring to. And that is why sometimes when I hear Nigerians talk, and sometimes I get a little bit agitated, they wonder, why are you so concerned about this? Because this direction, if you go there, the danger that it lies, the foreigners are watching you, they know they've primed you people already. The moment they just take one person out, let's say imagine something happens to Nnamdi Kanu in prison, and cascading events. Because we have put ourselves in a situation whereby because of one death, thousands or maybe millions could die. That is conditioning for you. We have to be careful what we are playing with here. And that's why I think it's a powerful statement he made. Okay. Oga Pansat is here.
All right.
Oga Pansat is here.
Let me take over from here.
Thank you for joining us, Pansat.
Thank you very much. I was on the sidelines watching the earlier show with KJ, and the discussion was very good. Let me say hello to you, forefathers, and my brother Tony, Ode, and my brother Jide as well. But too bad that I don't see Polo here. Perhaps he's having connection issues. Maybe he will join us after that. You know, this Polo guy here is quite a character. In one way, I understand that he's trying, right? He is really trying to bridge the gap, extend his hands to us. Those of us who are in the South, those of us who are Christians, and things like that. And that's a good thing. But he does have a problem. And the last time I spoke to him, I said I was going to give him a certificate to come over on the right side. People who want progress in the country, because compared to his people, he tries. He's got some education, I believe. But whenever it comes to anything that is culture, region, and others, he holds the same atavistic views. And atavism is a fancy word for things that are outdated, archaic, the practices of his people, and actually the religion itself, which he holds there. He may not like certain aspects of Fulani, the ones that he considered to be forest Fulanis and things like that, the terrorists. But it's a causality problem. There are things that make those people behave the way they do. Education may cure it, because you look at Pulo here. He has education, but he's at a junction. So let's see which way he's going to take after all. He must understand that when he comes here to talk, a lot of Southerners are very, very smart, fair, educated, democratic. So it's easy to see through him. But I've looked at him, I've looked at his soul. I believe that the issue he has is where he was born and the practices that they have there. In his mind, everybody has the same problem. You're born there, you didn't choose it, that's what comes with it, right? Fine. I like that. But he needs to condemn, if not apologize. Now, if it's me, if I'm from the North, I'll do a lot of apologies. But at the minimum, he needs to condemn the things that are evil and embrace the things that are good. That's not tribal. Like when he comes here, he's talking about Southeasterners. Now, I was going to ask him some questions. I don't know. He shows up, but he doesn't want to obey the rules of a platform. If I'm from his people, if I come on a platform like this, it's like me. If I go to a northern platform, I'm going to try to obey all the rules. I'm going to try to be a good ambassador. I'm not going to want them to admonish me and do this, because we really should encourage people like Pulo to come and talk and be sincere. So we could build the country.
I'm sorry. I have been on this platform for quite a while, but it's only today that somebody told me I'm not following the rules. And after all, even today, I was the one that is being interrupted whenever I have a chance to speak. And then the person that interrupted me is the one that is trying to platform me. He doesn't even want my view. He is acting like a custodian of the truth, that I must follow his own opinion. I could not express my own opinion, even if it is against what he wants. It is the only thing I protested, and then I start
I haven't found any fault with your opinion.
You are interrupting people, and you are still.
No, hold on. I have not found any fault.
I'm not a spokesperson. I said it earlier. I'm not a spokesperson for the
I think we have a connection issue.
I'm just an individual.
Yeah, I think he's delayed a little bit, but I have not found any problem with his opinion whatsoever here. You're allowed to express your opinion. I'm saying that one of the rules, maybe you don't know, apparently you don't know, on this particular show, you're supposed to be on video. You're supposed to show your face in order to be allowed in. That's the only thing I'm complaining about. Your opinions to me are in order. You're wrong a lot. But I like the spirit that you have, which is to discuss everything. I urged you the last time to condemn, not necessarily to apologize, even though you should apologize for what your people did. At least you didn't do it. But when you look back with what you know so far, it is wrong.
I already said I'm not a spokesperson of the Fulanis.
No, that's what I mean.
Just because I happen to be a Fulani, why would I condemn it?
Let me tell you why.
You hold me accountable for something that has been done without my consent?
Let me tell you why you have to condemn. Condemnation is not based as an actor. You could be a neutral party and you look at something and you condemn whatever is wrong, right? That doesn't mean that it's your fault. Like me, if I look at the Nicaragua conflict, I could condemn what's being done to the Contras. If I look at what's happening in Gaza, I could condemn Israel and say, you know what? That's genocide. I'm condemning you for doing that. I could look at the October 7th and say, you know what? I condemn what Hamas did. Episodically, I could use good judgment to make a call.
Answer,
right?
that point has been well
made.
But
you are not. Sorry, okay. But you are not you are not connected with all those sites in any way. I'm connected with the Fulanis, and many a times I join this kind of platform, whether it's on TikTok or YouTube or like this one, just because by seeing my name Pullo, they assume I'm a Fulani, they assume I'm a Muslim. All these assumptions are made already before I even start. So
No, that's not
whoever
true.
I'm talking
Let
to,
me take my time back. Please,
But hold on,
Polo.
let me nail what you just said, Dan Pansad. But Polo, just because you are associated to a tribe doesn't mean you cannot condemn something that is wrong. It doesn't even matter whether it's to an external group, even if it was within your community. If something is wrong, you condemn it. It doesn't
exactly
matter
my point.
what direction it
But what
is.
I'm is exactly my point. What I'm saying is that I'm not the spokesperson. Why should I be held responsible for a terrorist act that
They are
is
not
being
holding you
carried out
responsible. They are
to
saying
another
you
person?
as a person should have
I
an
will
opinion and
condemn it
condemn
100.
such a thing.
We even had a show. I condemned everything. Do you know the kind of backlash I faced at home?
Okay.
I was like, I am a betrayer. I should be
Yeah.
defending my community by all means, but I went against my community. I'm just giving
That's
all
what I said,
the.
right?
I'm just
That's what I
condemning it. Why
said.
will
I
I do
gave
that?
you.
I
I gave you
even
that
invited
credit.
them to join and say the right thing. They refused to join.
Exactly. Even though you're saying what I want to hear, please mute him now. Let me.
Invite them, let them come because they
Yeah.
should be able to engage in conversation. After
Now,
all,
by
we
the
are
way,
stuck in this country together.
that's very important. Now, you see what he just said. That's why I gave him credit earlier, right? Much earlier. First thing I did was to give him credit for that. The spirit that he comes to join us is the spirit that we need to progressive.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's a conundrum. I cannot really figure him out completely because even though he just said that in general he's okay, but specifically he's not, right? When he's talking in general terms, I could hardly disagree with him. But when he begins to narrow down to specifics, then he's way off there. He's almost a jihadist when he's talking about specifics, especially when it comes to the Southeast. But let me go on to what I want to talk about. Listen to me. I want you in final admonition to you, Polo. Even if you are a good guy and you say things that are right, proper, that doesn't give you any license. You're just gonna be one of the guys. You're not gonna be special. You're not gonna get a cookie for saying the right thing. I think that's one of the mistakes you make. When you make some
But
of
I will
this,
be screwed in my geographical location.
no, we're gonna get
I
them.
will be
Don't worry.
screwed, and I have to move away from that society to say certain things
And
that
that
I'm
is
even saying
that
now.
tells
And
you
I
all
hope
you have to know.
a lot of people will not watch this.
That's what I mean. Those atavistic and anachronistic religion and the cultures over there. That's what the problem is. You, in order for you to find yourself somebody as moderate as you are, you're not a liberal. You're just saying the right thing, and then your life is at stake. You don't have freedom of speech, right? So that's why I'm saying to you, once you make that observation, then you have to look at everything now and say, you know what? Here I am amongst my people telling them the right thing to do, but they want to kill me for doing that. Therefore, let me see what was the cause of the war? The cause of the Nigerian Biafran war. Some have hinted at it. We were fighting, like Jide said, we were fighting the British for the resources there. It's a universal phenomenon. Congo is going through the same thing. South Africa, they may be different in one way or the other, but it's the same thing. They're similar. They may not be exact, but they're similar. So they come and then they use people from the north to take those resources. We were fighting those wars. So if you are a smart thinking person, you're gonna go, okay, like the question I was gonna ask you, I'm gonna spare you. I'm not gonna ask you those questions because you're actually on our
Please
side.
go ahead. I would like to answer some
You
questions.
said
Even
it.
if I
You
didn't
don't
answer
have.
them right, at least I
Okay.
will be giving myself an assignment to go and research and
Okay, very
find out
well.
what is
You know, like I
actually
said,
happening.
Pulo, you're turning out to be one of my favorites on this platform. You're okay in my book, like I said before, right? So now, knowing you don't have freedom of speech, because once somebody's afraid for their lives, you don't have freedom of speech. But here's a question I want to ask you. I'm not going to make it as hard as I was going to do it. Let's say if it's John Abba from that side or something. I'm going to do it now in a friendly way. When you say the Fulanis, for example, let's say they have a problem with the Southeasterners, Igbos. Then what's the problem with if you go and you ask Benue people, what is their problem? It has nothing to do with Igbos. They have a problem with the Fulanis. You go to Yoruba lands, they have problem with the Fulanis. You go to South, you go to Edo State, they have problem with the Fulanis. That has nothing to do with the Igbos. And it's similar problem. All of Nigeria feel that the Fulanis have an agenda to Islamize them, right? So invoking the Igbos is myopic, because you have to take a look at the totality of what everybody's complaining about. That is what mathematics is called a constant. Right? With the problems we have in Nigeria, the Igbos are a variable and the Fulanis are a constant mathematically, right? Every region in Nigeria will tell you, hold on 1 minute. Hold on, please, hold on. I'm trying to land. What I'm saying, it's not you. You have the same problem we have. Like I said, you're on our side. You're over there, you don't have a freedom of speech. That's the problem we have. So now, how are you gonna be useful going forward here? You're gonna have to be completely, brutally honest, standing for what is true and what is false. You cannot equivocate. You cannot be deceitful or have an appearance of deceit or mendaciousness. If you're principled, then you're principled, even if you lose your life doing it. You are more important than anybody else.
I hope you were there when we were having a conversation about the impending Hausa Fulani war with Dr. Damages. We had that conversation and he had my point of view.
Yeah.
I even went to the extent of telling him that, okay, Fulanis constitute between 6 to 7% of the total population.
I'll yield for now. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah, with that is 1980s phone that is ringing. He's going to. Is it?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
The dial tone of the 1980s phone.
Okay. What I was saying is that I told them that 6 to 7% Fulanis constitute 6 to 7% of Nigerian population, and out of that 6 to 7%, only 2% is educated and are settled and are living in the city. So I present an argument and said, okay, could you imagine 2% of a nation that is more than 200 million people will manage to brainwash everybody and then hold on to the position of power? Does it mean that the other regions are dumb or their leaders are bad? What does that tell you? Does it mean that the Fulanis are smarter than them? They cannot, obviously, they cannot get to those positions without the backing of other Nigerians in other regions with different religion view and different political and traditional way of life. But there is someone in those region or other people in that region that are conniving with the Fulanis and then helping the Fulanis to go up. You cannot tell me that the Fulanis are using a magic wand to blindfold everybody, and then just go and get the position of power. One being said. Second, all those among the rest, if I say, let's take it maximum like 7%, 2% are educated and are settled. The rest are in their villages, like maybe 3% are also in the villages, they are settled in the villages, and the rest are the ones that are roaming, going to other sites and then causing trouble. And then I said, if you want to control this, you can do that. I am in favor of having a narrow and close border so that whoever is coming to this country, we will know who he is, and we will also charge them, regardless of their tribal affiliation. We will charge them. You are coming into our country, so you have to pay this and that for us to allow you to move in with your cows and graze them. You can also be confined to a certain area only. You are a Fulani, you have commonalities with the people in the north, so restrict yourself there in the north. Don't go to the south. Make that rule. And if they are going back, charge them again. It will de-incentivize them from coming to this country. And then Nigeria will also be getting something out of them, the foreigners. And I told you that those people are the same people that are killing. And they don't care if they come. You feel like if they find somebody is a Muslim and is a Fulani, they will just jump his farm and then go and attack the non-Fulani and non-Muslim. No, they don't do that. When they come to attack, they attack everybody. My brother nearly lost his life while running away from those guys with AK-47. He saw them, they saw him, they know he is a Fulani, he is a Muslim. They even know his name. They call his name. And then they point a gun at him, like, okay, this is what we are going to do. You should not say anything. It's not like it is the Igbos or any other person alone that is facing the problem. It's like, but that's the notion that people are having in the South and in the East, that, okay, those people are not killing their people. They are conniving with their people. In fact, it is their people that are supporting them. Another problem that we are saying, we talk about the elitism and the elite. Those boys that you see herding the cows actually probably owns only 1 or 2 cows. All the cows belongs to some heavy wings politician that can give them a political cover if they do something wrong. Have you ever heard Miyetti Allah condemn all these atrocities? No, but deep down everybody knows this is wrong. Like me, I come out frankly and condemn it and I say it is wrong. But Miyetti Allah, will they do that? No. Why? Because they will lose their influence. They will lose their support that they are getting from their base. Just like Donald Trump will never condemn KKK and the IRS. Whenever gun violence happens in the United States, the Democrats keep on saying we should introduce laws that will check the mental health of the people that are wielding the gun. But the Republicans are saying no, having a weapon is our constitutional right. So Donald Trump, no matter what, no matter how ugly it is, the church, Charlottesville, whatever, no matter how bad it is, he will never condemn NRA, which probably he knows deep down what the KKK are doing to the blacks and the Jews and other people like that, and the West, I mean, white man supremacy. He knows this is wrong, but he cannot say that. Once he condemns them, he will lose his base, and he knows it. He will lose some funding.
Hello, can you put your camera on? They are busy. They are beginning to make a lot of noise about the camera, and we are going to be rounding up after Pulo.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Let me just round up by saying this. I, as an individual, will come out and condemn this thing, but I hold no political. I hold no significant attention or significant role in the entire scheme of the thing. So I can condemn it alone. But if we can get the big wings to condemn their people when they do something wrong, like the leader of Yalla, if he says he condemn it, it will actually have some meaning. Unlike me as a private, isolated individual whose view are anathema to my people.
It starts from individuals, then it gets to the top. The Media Allah is made up of individuals. So when personally, if somebody asks me to condemn something that I believe is wrong, I would say I condemn it.
Okay. Did is what do you call him? Bola Tinubu condemning what Gani Adams has done and has been doing. No, it is his base. He is the president, and he knows he has some support there. What I'm saying is not like the individual could not be saying this. I'm not alone. There are lots of people that could be saying this similar, having my opinion, similar opinion, but they are nothing compared to the leaders. It is the leaders. It is not that they don't know this is wrong. Is that they keep quiet. By that, you cannot say they support it or they deny it. Whatever you say, they will say no. They will be pleasing their gullible ones.
If they keep quiet in the front of wrongdoing, in the presence of wrongdoing, they are complicit. So you can't.
Yes, just like any other politician that will not condemn his people. That's what I said. It is not that they don't know it is wrong or wrong. Yes, all of them are complicit. I gave you the example with the what do you call it?
Let me ask you something. Hold on.
The advanced democracy.
Do you condemn what Israel is doing to Hamas? Do you condemn that?
I do. Yes, I do.
You do, right?
Yes.
You're not representing Israel. You're not representing anybody. It's just you condemn evil stuff. You condemn it, right?
Sorry.
It's not partisan, right? I want you to understand. I believe that if you do understand, we don't have any
people
problem.
with large audience are condemning it. But what stopped?
Nothing.
No,
Nothing
but
changes. Even America set red line, 2 red lines. They crossed it. Nothing happened.
Listen.
So,
I'm trying to.
what would my opinion contribute to that?
Condemnation doesn't necessarily require action. It just requires your action of condemning it. Because when you condemn it, you've made your position
What's the
clear.
point if it will not change anything?
Because you've made your own position clear. Exactly, it's just changed something. That person that is standing in front of you have just seen that you now are on their side on this matter. Because if you are not on their side, you will say, no, I don't condemn it. I'm okay with that. So, but if you condemn it, it makes it clear that you are on their side. Then the conversation can move forward to, okay, how do we get the big wigs and people in offices to actually take our position? You see what I mean?
Yeah,
so
let me take my time back.
But let me refer you back to what you just said just minutes ago, that it is very impossible to remove a driver in the car that he doesn't want to give up while the passengers are inside.
Hold on.
If that is your view, then you understand how difficult it is to make these people change their mind.
He has a connection issue.
I know that, but
let me take my time back because there's another point I wanted to make to Polo.
Yeah,
right?
When you finish, we'll close out. We'll close out because it's weekday after all. We forget all this. It's a weekday.
That's true. Polo, we're having a lot of conversations simultaneously. And I don't think it's fair to you because it's going to be limiting you to be defensive, talking about the Fulani issue all the time. I believe you have a lot more to offer than the Nigerian tribal issue.
Yep.
When I talk on a platform, I don't talk tribal. We're talking anthropology. Now, a part of anthropology is tribalism and religion. It's the mission of people. Where do they come from and what is their mission? Like, say, to Nigeria. Where the Igbos come from? Who are the Igbos? What is their religion? What is their culture? The same applies to every Nigerian tribe. One of the advice I will give you, without being condescending, I believe that you have a lot to offer because you went to school, you are social media savvy, and you want the same thing we want, which is a progressive Nigeria and ultimately a progressive Africa that can stand up to the West and their shenanigans. I'm very happy that somebody like you come here, you take a lot of hits, and you come back. You took a lot of hit earlier, and you still come back, which means it's genuine, right? Genuine. But it doesn't mean that just because you belong in this progressive thing that you come out and you say, look, I'm a murderer, then we're just gonna take it, right? Obviously, we're still gonna
thank you. You made your point. I'm quite surprised how well you are receiving Polo, given how all the other guys didn't receive him very well. So Polo, you are welcome to come in on Saturday. We tend to discuss more expansively. And invite your friends to join us because we are not, we tend to be more, self-searching. We search ourselves and discuss issues honestly the best we can. That's all we can do. Try our best to be as honest as possible instead of just calling each other names.
If I just become a dishonest by playing devil advocate earlier, it's because
that's what I was gonna say. You were not playing devil's advocate.
Sorry.
Playing devil's advocate.
Please. Let me say, you are not the one that said it. That's your own perception.
No, but look, a devil's advocate.
Now,
listen, here's the difference.
Well, look at that. You see how they are fighting.
Please. 1 minute.
Let me make
this is what was happening. Interruption. You are interrupting me when I was trying to round up. Please give me 1 minute to complete my statement. Please.
Listen to me.
1 minute. I'm talking. Please. Let me finish my statement. Please. Let me.
Peace and unity.
Forefathers, playing a devil's advocate is different from playing the devil, right? When you're playing a devil's advocate, listen to me. When you're playing a devil's advocate,
but do you know the concept of devil advocate? How it comes by? Do you know the history where it comes from? You don't know how it comes about. If you know how it comes about, you'll not be arguing against it.
No, let me tell you.
I cannot just sit and listen to you saying that.
There's a
Your
movie
truth
called The
is
Devil's
the truth that
Advocate.
should be held. I cannot just sit and wait and listen to your own opinion and then feel like
It's not my
it
opinion.
is
I'm
the
telling you
truth.
the facts.
Okay,
No, it's your own opinion. Sorry. Let me just have 1 minute to round up everything that I said in just 1 minute. Please, you will have your chance and say
When you
whatever you
ask
want,
for
please.
Okay,
1,000,
I'm
1
gonna
minute,
time it now. 1 minute.
1,000
I'm gonna
minutes.
time
Every time
everybody
you're
for 1
asking for
minute.
1 minute, if you ask for it 1,000 times, that's
No, I
1,000
didn't.
minutes.
He is the one that asked me. If I finish my 1 minute, the follow-up question will be the one that will drag me further. I don't mean to take much time. It is the follow-up question that takes me over. So please, what I'm trying to say here is, if somebody is saying that you should be honest and truthful, and you still believe somebody that is preaching that President Muhammadu Buhari is a fake president because he is taking, he has died and somebody has put on his seat as his substitute. What kind of person are you? Are you believing in somebody that's telling the truth? What kind of truth is that?
Okay, let me.
And then somebody that is still saying, calling everybody zoo. How do you expect to have a clear conversation with you? Now you call me Pullo, I call you your name. But when you start calling me an animal, what will I start? My defense mechanism will come into play and will not have a fruitful conversation, honestly. And then if I say what I said, I'm responsible for what I say. I'm not responsible for what you understood. And I'm not saying
All right, thank you. Let me tell you what a devil's
negative against anybody.
Are you? Is your 1 minute the same as ours?
Yeah, the 1 minute is elapsed.
Yeah, let me tell him what a devil's advocate means: advocating for an opposing or unpopular viewpoint, not necessarily because you believe it, but to explore all sides of a situation and make sure it's thoroughly examined. In essence, when you do a devil's advocate, you actually be getting on the other side, right? If you want to do a devil's advocate for Biafra, you're gonna be for Biafrans, and you're gonna say things that are positive for Biafrans. That is playing a devil's advocate. Now, playing the devil is to actually
oh God,
no, but it's true. It's to then go ahead and beat down on the Biafrans. When you're doing that, you're not trying to give an opposing view or to advance it. That's the difference. Now, what I want to I hope he understood what the difference, right there. What that devil,
Yeah,
there's
your
a
time
movie
is
called
almost
The Devil's Advocate. I want him to go and watch that movie. There's the one of the things that we're gonna have to do on a platform like this is not to
Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves. I've watched that movie, Devil Advocate.
Yeah, the
you watched
Devil's
it? Okay, very
Advocate.
good.
Yeah.
All
What's
right.
the Devil Advocate?
Creepy movie. Tony, thank you for joining us.
Sorry,
I
let me
really
just
appreciate
educate
it.
him. Like
No,
the Devil
there's no
Advocate
more
actually
education.
come from the Vatican. A
We
Catholic
know that
introduced it.
already. Okay. You have, you see, we have what they call it, philosophy Sunday. We can discuss all this stuff. Tony, 1 minute. Can you? I have to appreciate the submission that Tony has been making. He's been giving us some very, very insightful
I made
submission.
Tony good. Tony
Very,
came
very,
in here as
very,
a bad guy, but I
very,
made him
very,
good. He's now my brother again. Tony, you gotta give me credit.
it's-
You gotta give me credit for it.
you made it good. You made Tony good. So I
Okay,
really
Pansa,
appreciate your
Pansa,
submissions.
thank you for me.
And I'm
Pansa, thank you
sorry.
for making me good. You are the elder here.
Okay, 1 minute.
Yeah, Pansa, thank you for making me good. Yeah, Pansa, thank you for making me good. You are the elder here. The only problem I have with you is sometimes you speak with quite a lot of wisdom and we listen. And sometimes you want to pull punches, but it's okay. It's always refreshing to see you. Anytime I don't see you on the platform, I don't feel good. But without from your wisdom, we learn good things from you. I think that this platform is beginning to show some of the reasons why we have problems in Nigeria. It's beginning to show us the various issues. And I think what we need to do is, from all these basketballs that we're getting, we need to learn from them and see that the only way we can pull together as one is to hear each other out, is to disabuse our minds of all this religious provincialism, ethnic chauvinism, and knowing that if we want a nation that is good for all, those things can't advance those interests for us. I think leadership is critical. I think our nation is not doing well. I think our leaders know that. And I think the only thing they lack is the political will to actually tackle those things in a way that will augur well for all sections of the country, no matter where you come from. And I believe that Nigeria is going to be a great nation if we can deal with those issues, because everything that the nation needs, God has given to us. The only place where we fail is to be able to utilize those things in a way and manner that will prosper our country and our people. And I think that's the critical issue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's well-rounded. He could easily be a governor of Lagos. It's just you can't make it. I don't think so. Will look at even make that speech. Odi, please go ahead. What do you? 1 minute, please. Closing statement. Then we round up.
Odi, would you give me your 1 minute?
I'll yield you my 1 minute.
Hey God, is there nothing you are not going to give password there?
No, I'm just kidding. I thought I would make him mad, but go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. They give you everything for free.
I'm very, I'm a cheerful giver. Anyway, I think finally we are all coming to, we're merging our views and opinions. We're not enemies. I remember when Tony came on the show, my opinion was very divergent from his. What we want is a good country. We're like people in exile. And most of us, we want to go home, but we can't, because our country is destroyed by greed and by people who are unpatriotic. At the top of the chain, there are no tribes. They're just puppets who are being manipulated by people that we don't know, people that don't love us, people who are there to further their own interests. But most of us fail to realize that. Let's continue to spread this message, talk on this platform. What we want is a good country. And we know the truth. Only the truth will set us free.
Thank you.
Whether we agree or we don't.
Thank you. I think that statement, I know it has been said in so many gatherings. Only the truth will set you free. I don't know whether it was in the Bible, but it's a good message. And I hope all the viewers, well-wishers, Nigerians all over the world have a great week. And the week is ending soon. So you're going to be having Dr. Damages come on Saturday, and I hope you all have a good day today. And the people and everyone that wants to celebrate the Biafran this in celebration, they can celebrate it peacefully. I wouldn't call it a celebration, more of a remembrance. In short, they celebrate it the way they want to. As somebody once said, I can't tell them how to feel about it. But I just hope that we try to learn really good lessons from the past and, find a way to channel it to one way or the other, get this country off its backside, and so that we can actually have a country that we can return to, instead of us, staying overseas in a foreign man's land, a land that other people built. And that's all we can wish for our people, isn't it? And our children. Thank you all for joining me, and I really appreciate.
By the way, forefathers, before
Yes.
you started this show, on the previous show, you said, "What's all this hoopla about?" That Pulo didn't say anything. That
God, you want to
What?
start another
No, no,
one?
no. I
That is
just want to.
bullshit.
I wanted to make a point so that
We are closing. You
you
are
should
just interrupted my
apologize.
closing
You should
statement.
apologize for that because Pulo then came here to tell you that he played the devil's advocate and he said something that was wrong. So apologize for it.
And everybody that I offended, accept my apology for thinking that Polo did nothing wrong. Because Polo has come here and acknowledged that he actually did nothing wrong, the rotten man. He did something wrong clearly. He came and offended people, played the devil, according to Passat, not the advocate, but the devil. So I apologize for that. Thank you all for joining us. Until next time, we're going to catch you again. Bye.